Good morning, everybody. A little tired. Today. Atari Force. Drew will be in shortly. He just sent me a text. It's a tired comic art party for me, and didn't get enough sleep. I'll be back on after this broadcast at 10 p.m. tonight on the Comic Core. Yes, it looks like it's Corpse, but Comic Core channel. If y'all are interested in more, if you're interested in more John Beatty. Good morning, Lloyd. Just recovering from last night. Lack of sleep. I think I got about 4.5 hours. Not quite enough for me. Well, that would have been nice, but I was here in my office and had to get home and woke up to like sub 50 degree weather. Not a drizzly rain, cold rain with wind. Not a pleasant day. Not a pleasant day in what's supposed to be Daytona sunny beach. But anyway, Drew is making lunch for, I think, his youngest kid. So he'll be in shortly. I will do a quick... I am missing coffee, Lloyd. I was going to get a coffee last night, but instead I got a sugar-free, although it has, crap in it. The sugar, the natural sugar they take out is better than the stuff that they put in that makes it so they can call it no sugar. Truth be told. I was actually going to get a coffee last night. I was tempted, but I was like, let's see, it was a week this past Monday, so that would be day 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days without coffee. But the thing is, when I get a hot coffee, I like to enjoy it, and it can, when hot coffee reaches a certain degree, and I don't know what that temperature is, but it just tastes like ass. It's horrible. I can't drink it any longer. I know some people can let a coffee sit in a cup all day long and continue to sip on it, but I like to enjoy my coffee when it's a nice drinkable temperature. Ronald Went, good morning, sir. Before I left the house this morning, my mom had me put the heat on. Believe me, Ron. Oh, got a bit of a headache. Or I think it's just maybe something in the air, or maybe just lack of sleep. Maybe a little stuffy head. But anyway, enough complaining. While I wait on Drew, we'll review last night. The reason I'm here is to draw the clown or the violator from Spawn for AG, who hopefully will be coming in. Yeah, I don't like my coffee so hot that it's scalding, but there's this nice temperature that coffee reaches where all the flavors blend together, and you can take a nice sip of it, get a good flavor, and once it gets a degree or two below that, nah. I wasted a whole coffee one time, brought it up to the office, got my bag unpacked, was sitting down, ready to do something, and got a phone call from a friend of mine, not you, Ron, just in case. And thought it was going to be a short one, and it wasn't. And by the time I got to the coffee, it was no good. And there's Drew. You sound like me, Drew.
Yeah, making lunch for my youngest son.
Well, you gotta do that type of stuff.
Yeah, he was giving me options,
That's always nice.
and I was like, that's crazy because we have none of those things right now. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you what I make you. And
Yeah.
see what happens then?
If you're hungry, you'll eat it. If you're really hungry, you're gonna eat this.
That's
So
what I say. Nice red skull.
yeah, these are what I did last night. These are my quickie ones that I was doing, although they take me longer than they probably should. So red skull, got a vulture going on.
Oh, classic Hulk.
Yep. And then
Your nemesis.
yes, and this is the one I started the show off with because Noah, the hyper potato, aka Kirk, had been after me for one. So he asked me if I would do it. I said I'd try.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, last night I kind of stayed here and played around with the black Prismacolor pencil to give it that
Just
extra
grays and stuff.
Yep. So
Yeah, I saw you were on pretty late.
yep, and I was up. I stayed up later than that, and then I still had to get home. I think I had about 4.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I went to sleep at 3 myself.
Oh, you're
Well, I
killing me.
woke up at 9, so 6 hours.
6 hours is
Pretty good.
I can do 6, but 7, 8. I don't even know if I get 8, but if I can get a good 7.5, I'm usually good.
Yeah, I can't sleep past 6.5. Then I just wake up. So.
You know what? Get a few years older.
Yeah, I'm getting there, man.
Let's see. Lloyd says the screen froze. Did
Huh?
anybody? Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's just on his side or I'm gonna check. Let's see. Hey, Kevin, Army dude to Sergeant Rock. Yeah, your hands moving, Drew.
Yeah, I'm just eating a sandwich.
Oh.
I got to ink that panel there. It's a club called the Blue Boy. And then I'm going to do a couple inking or coloring some head sketches.
Okay. Well, let's see. 11, 12, 1. I got a couple hours, so I'm actually gonna be back on tonight at 10 p.m. So that means I gotta go home and get my son from school. My wife got called to do a double shift at the diner today, so she won't get off till about. Well, they close at 9, but that doesn't mean she gets off at 9 because they got what they call their side work stuff to do, which is
fill the pepper.
Restock all this stuff for the morning shift, which she's the morning shift. So yeah, the girls at night usually don't even do it for the girls in the morning, and I'll get stuck. My wife will say she's done. I'll drive over to pick her up, and then I'm out in the parking lot for 30 or 40 minutes, and she finally gets out, and I said, why did you text me and say you're done? She goes, oh, I had to do my side work. I said, well, then you're not done. Call me when you're done. Because it takes maybe maybe a little over 10 minutes if a light catches me or something to get there. So it's not bad.
Yeah, I remember the side work and people complaining about it all the time. Like not Not the complaining about doing it, just people not doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think the girls at night, the waitresses, once they get off, they don't want to do it. They don't want to stay that extra time and do it. So the girls in the morning, it's kind of different condiments to restock, but still, Uh,
When I worked at a restaurant, they used to have servers that would come in early
uh-huh.
and do that because they counted on people not doing it. So they had like an admin that came in at 2 who was also a server. And after she did her administration work, like the payroll and all that stuff, she would do the catch-ups and all that, the salt and pepper and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and they got to do the dressings. They put it in like little containers so that they can put those with the salad, the side salads or the bigger salads instead of just putting a whole bottle of dressing out. So, and then they gotta roll the silverware into the napkins and all that stuff.
And they used to have the hostesses and hosts do that, the silverware.
Right.
I used to make salad dressings. Yeah, like actually from scratch. It was
Drew looks for ways to do things harder.
No, that was my job. I had to make like sauces and soup.
Oh, okay. So you were
almost like a sauce.
You were the sauce man.
But I also did all the desserts and what else? Like I would make the bases for all the like seafood dishes.
Right.
But the caramels, the chocolates, the Cabernet sauces, the au jus, all that stuff, brownies and dressings, and yeah, it was it's a lot of work. The soups are always the thing that killed you because they took so long.
The soup?
And you'd have to run. We had 4 different soups, but we'd have to run 2 of them every night. Yeah. It was horrible, especially when you found out somebody threw out like 4 gallons of soup. You're like, what are you doing? Now I have to make 2 today. Like, because you would rotate them every other day, 1 a day.
Right.
But every once in a while, man, they'd catch you and you'd have to do 2 in one day, and that is an ordeal. But I am so glad I don't have to do that shit anymore. God. Okay, I'm ready. Whew. I didn't realize I was hungry until my son said he was hungry.
That happens sometimes. That'll happen with my son. It's like he'll be playing computer game or something and he won't be hungry. We'll be eating and he'll be like, no, I'm not hungry. And then he just doesn't want to get away from the game,
Yeah.
And 2 or 3 hours later, he's like, I'm hungry. Can you make me something now? Usually that's to my wife.
Yeah. I always say you eat when we eat, like, and after that, like a snack is fine.
Right.
But I was like, after a certain point, no sweets,
Yeah.
Like after 8, don't even ask. No candy, no cakes, no nothing. If it's sweet, just because I'm just not trying to deal with that.
Right.
Plus, I always go, well, now you're going to have to brush your teeth again. And then he's like, okay, I don't want it.
Yeah. That, let's see. There's AG.
I heard an interesting conversation yesterday.
I bet you did.
I'm going to share this with you because I found it appalling.
Okay, now remember you're sharing it with everyone that's in the room.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right.
It was I didn't say anything. I just witnessed the conversation, but I didn't know people still talk like that.
One quick. Yes, AG, this is your clown piece. Just wanted the guys in there, AG. So I'm letting him know this is his.
But I was in line at the grocery store, right? And the only reason I'm sharing this is because I have nobody else to share it with. Because my trip to the shop didn't happen since it snowed yesterday and everything shut down.
Okay. I saw you tweeting stuff, and I was like, man, he brings his tablet to the shop.
Yeah, I didn't get to go because the schools let out early and they're closed today. But I was at the grocery store just picking up some water and stuff because I was like, well, if we're going to be stuck at home for a day, make sure we have some like snacks and small supplies. And there's these three gentlemen arguing. Well, not really arguing. One guy says, "How can they're brothers? Two were brothers. One was just one of the dudes who was there." I would say, and the only reason I mention their age because when I say what they said or what the one guy said, you go, "Oh, because he's pretty up there, and he probably not up there, but in his generation, this was probably acceptable." But the one guy goes to his brother, not the eldest guy. He goes, "How can you get that much money back on a tax return and be broke?" And the guy goes, "Well, my wife, And before he can even finish, the guy goes, "Your wife? You're a man. Don't you have like control of your finances?" And he goes, "Well, happy wife, happy life." And then this is when everything goes awry. The older guy goes, "Happy wife, happy life." He goes, "You got to be a man. It's nothing to do with being a man." And I was like, and then it got real quiet in the whole grocery store. And he goes, "Man," and this is where it gets crazy because this is just insanity. He goes, "Man, I remember back in the day you could beat them. And no one say anything. And now, all of a sudden, now they put you in jail for it." I was like, all of a sudden? Like, are you insane? And then the other guy goes, because you could tell it was really uncomfortable for everyone. Because, this guy's talking about beating ladies like this is like his side gig. And the guy goes, "Well, I believe what the Bible says. You should be a man of integrity and not hurt people, right?" And he's like, "I don't care what the Bible says. Your Bible also says something about women." And I was like, "Oh my goodness." like what is wrong with you, sir? I was like, people are human beings. Why would you hit anybody? It doesn't, woman, man, whatever. Like, don't like, this is how you see the world. And then he walks off angry. He's just like, "Oh, people trying to stop me from being a man. I'm a man." I was like, "Jeez." I was like, your definition of man is way different than most people. Most people would beat on women as would see it as a manly thing. But I was shocked. I was just like, this is a strange conversation that's being had right now. It's 2020. They did a movie about this where they ignited Jupiter into a sun. So, like, they're going to space, man, doing space missions, and you're talking about like beating ladies. What is wrong with you? Jeez. But yeah, that's. I told my wife, and she was shocked. And she's like, "Why would?" I was like, "No, you would have said something, and like escalated this to a point where it just doesn't matter. It matters in the point as in like you shouldn't beat women. Yes, that's totally wrong. But with this guy, it doesn't matter.
I know.
Like nothing you can say is gonna make this guy think differently. All you're gonna do is and even if somebody in his group addressed it, saying, "Well, I don't believe."
All he's gonna do is get you in a fight, or all she would do is get you in a fight with him.
Yeah. And I was just like, even the guy was like, "I believe to be, be a man of integrity and not hurt people." And that was within his group of people.
Right.
So, like, I was like, well, this at this point, this guy's kind of making the point, like, "Hey, guy, like, shut up." But yeah, I was like that. And like I said, he's probably, I want to say, early 70s. He was I don't know about his generation because I didn't live that generation. I can only assume. But
Right.
wherever he grew up, I guess uh,
Yeah,
late.
he's from Virginia.
Yes, yeah, probably he probably is. I was like, man, like you're a horrible person. Jeez,
You're what?
I was like, that guy's a horrible person.
Oh,
I hate to judge somebody, but man, like that is awful. Uh, but that's how I started my morning yesterday. It's like 9 in the morning. Just beating them ladies. See, that's what he said. Yeah, a man hitting a woman isn't manly.
hmm.
Happy wife is happy life. Yeah, there's a balance, sure. Like, you can't, sometimes what makes her happy may not be the right thing. I always say, people are human beings, you know? Like, there's got to be compromise, right? Like,
I get myself in more trouble by just trying to, happy wife, happy life.
yeah. Well,
I've gotten myself in trouble doing that.
yeah,
I thought it would make you happy,
yeah, I always, like, if my wife and I have a disagreement, we always talk, and we've always done that. Like actually talk about it, not just kind of get angry and not talk for a while, and then kind of goes away. I know a lot of people who are like that. They're just like, oh, well, I'm fighting with my wife, so we're not really talking. And then and I'll ask like a month later, like, how are you and your wife doing? Oh, we're good now. I was like, did you guys talk about it? It's, oh, no, it's whatever.
No need to.
Yeah, I'm like, are you kidding me? That's gonna come back.
Now your wife is Filipino, as is mine.
Yes, she's a half Filipino and half Italian.
Okay, so she was raised here in the Philippines.
Here.
Okay.
Her mother is 100% Filipino, and she's got 2 brothers and a sister that are 100% Filipino.
So she doesn't have the kind of the Filipino mindset then, though.
Oh no, to be honest, there's a lot of things in that mindset. Like, she has some of it because she was raised
right.
But there's some stuff she points out. She's just like, I hate that.
Do you know about the Tampo?
Tampo, no.
Okay, it's basically and it can be male or female, but
yeah,
it's basically when a Filipino shuts down, and I mean, you can't do anything to get them to talk. And
yeah, my wife does that.
They do it well too.
My wife held a grudge with her sister for over 2 years, and they didn't talk.
Yeah,
like zero talk. Like,
right. Yeah,
like they're in the same room, and they don't exist.
Yep. Well, that happened with me and my wife when she first came here from the Philippines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I would say stuff and she would take it out of context.
Oh yeah.
Because there is, I mean, they're taught English, but a lot of times it's only like one meaning of the word. And over here we can use a word a lot of different ways.
Sure.
And I would try to explain to her, but she would only know the literal meaning of like one way.
Yeah.
And oh man, yeah, I went through some times where for days she wouldn't talk to me, she wouldn't communicate with me, and I had to tell her, like when it would, and then like the weird thing is all of a sudden it just passes, and I got the most loving person, beside.
Oh yeah, when they decide it's over, it's over.
Yeah. And it's like nothing happened, and they're like doing stuff for you, and they're so loving and giving. And I had to tell my wife, I had to explain to her, you have to fight me. You can't, if I say something that, before you go into Tampo or you get angry at me, express yourself. Let me know what I said wrong, because I don't know otherwise.
That's true. and that's something fair. I'm a strong proponent in talking things out. Not that you're going to come to an agreement, because sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have to agree to disagree.
Right.
But I don't believe in like not talking about problems you have. Uh, it's kind of how my family is. They just don't talk about stuff. And as I've gotten older, like my wife and I, when we first started dating 22 years ago, uh, that was the first thing when like we were talking, and I was like, look, if you want to be serious in a relationship, I'm going to tell you now, I don't play games. So, like, if you're the person who wants something and then you say you don't and then get mad at me because I don't do it, that's a game, and I don't do that. Like, so if you want things or you have an opinion, just say it, and then we'll work from there. But I don't play games. Like, don't tell me no or yes, and then I go do something, and then you get mad at me and say, "Well, I didn't really mean yes. You were supposed to know that." And yeah, that doesn't work.
I think I have that a little bit of that problem.
Yeah, that's craziness. Like, I'm not a code breaker, and I know me. I don't know about you, but being an artist, I tend to like be focused on things. So I literally, if you tell me something and like something like make a decision, I'm going to take you for whatever you say because I'm concentrating on things. Uh, So if you say this, like if I say, hey, let's go out to eat, what do you want to eat? Oh, I don't care. And then I go, okay, let's go here. And then we go there.
Oh, not there.
I didn't even want to eat here. I don't even know why we're here. I was like, well, no. You said you didn't care when I said this. We came here, and now you're upset. I was like, but that doesn't happen generally with us. We don't do stuff like that, and it's really kept our relationship like pretty stable. Just being honest all the time. Sometimes it sucks, to be honest, because you don't want to hear things sometimes.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? Like you're like we're bringing this up right now, but this is how you feel right now. So I guess we're gonna talk about it. And I'll do the same thing. Mary, my wife will be like, "Why are you?" I was like, "Cause this is how I feel right now. I feel like you're this," and but I won't do it in front of people. But I'll take her to the side and be like, "Look, that was crazy disrespectful. We need to talk about this." And we do, and 9 times out of 10 we work it out there. But um, I don't know. But my relationship, I feel like, is unrealistic for a lot of people. You have to be really patient, man. Uh, you also have to be willing to like actually listen. So you have to shut the fuck. You got to shut up sometimes.
So now, AG in the chat says, "How about happy spouse, happy house?"
Oh, that sounds cool.
That's what Kevin just said. He said, "I like that."
I like that too.
Happy spouse, happy house.
We all deserve to be happy.
Yes, that's very good. I like that.
That's wonderful. I'm using that.
We're stealing it. Everybody steal that.
That's good. I mean, we have to have equal opportunity happiness.
Yes, indeed we do. Or no happiness at all.
For no one. There's a boycott on happiness in this home.
But see, now my wife, I can go into that area where I'll just shut down too. And I told her before, I said, you don't want me to go there. I said, I can go there, but I don't want to, And like I said, she was in a strange country, and trying to get used to everything. And I had to tell her, there's going to be things, if you don't understand or if it doesn't sound right, before you get angry, challenge me on it. Ask me exactly what did I mean, because I can, I'll explain it,
Yeah.
And I mean, we still get into those little, like, no, that's, you said it that way, but that's not what you meant. And I'm like, okay, I had that argument too many times. I'm not having it again.
Yeah, I always say in those I always say, do
I got
later.
Drew. I'm gonna, not that my wife listens to this, but I'm gonna have to delete this one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't mind. My wife.
No, my wife never watches my stream at all.
It's a little too serious. No, I always tell her if we get into something and she feels like I did something to hurt her feelings or something.
Mm-hmm.
I always say, well, when have I ever done that? Or I've never, like in our 22 years together, have I ever done something just to upset you, like just to make you feel bad? I was like, you tell me when I did that on purpose, and I'll apologize right now for what you think I did. But like, that you know me, like, why would I do that? Like, and then she'll think about it. She's like, you're right. I was like, because I meant this. You took it like this. But I never, when in our relationship have I ever?
Right.
And then she'll think about it. And she'll be like, okay, fine. Then she'll say something like, you're still a dumbass. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
And you'll go like, okay, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I can live with that. Yeah.
See, I think guys are wired a little different because, I'm very sarcastic with my wife sometimes on purpose. And I try to make it, because of the cultural difference, I try to make it dripping with sarcasm.
Oh, yeah. You go over the top with it.
Yeah, but she doesn't pick up on it still. Ron could tell you, like,
That's like my mom. My mom's lived here for, I'm 44, so she's lived here for 44 years.
Right.
So she still doesn't understand sarcasm, like, at all. Yeah. But she's Korean. Like she just doesn't compute. You just got to be straight with her. What are you drawing there, John?
It's for AG. It's the clown from Spawn.
Oh yeah. Later.
Yeah, I just pulled up like really close on his face so I can like bleed his big chins and stuff like off of the page.
I bet you that's fun.
Yeah, it is. This is left over from last night. So,
I'm doing this cover for a comic that's coming out at IDW for a friend. And it kind of reminds me of like, it's like one of like fun, like, because the exaggerated, like that character you're doing right now is super exaggerated,
right?
Proportionally, and like just everything about that character is an exaggeration. That reminded me of the cover I did a thumb of last night, and it's kind of like the same thing. It's a wrestling thing, so one guy's like talking mess to this giant monster of a thing who's like very misproportioned and ridiculous, and it just reminded me of that. I can't wait to do that cover. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, every now and again we get to have a lot of fun. Sometimes not so much, right?
Yeah. It kind of like, it's kind of like everything else, right? It's like a job, so it can't be great all the time. But I wouldn't do anything else.
I've never had to dig ditches for a living, so I can't say it's better than digging ditches, but I imagine it is.
I had to clean out an old drugstore before.
You did?
Yeah, it was horrible. Like a drugstore that was closed for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And the person left everything in there. Uh-huh. So it was in the 90s, so everything in there was from the 70s. like an old 70s. It had like old Prel shampoo with the
they still make Prel?
Do they still? But it stunk. Old medicine, when medicine goes bad,
yeah,
it is a smell, like it's hard to describe. But I had to do that, and for like $6 or $7 an hour. Ugh.
I remember a friend of mine when we were in high school, maybe 10th grade. He worked at a local Zare after school.
Yeah.
And they were doing inventory. So he asked, hey, do you want to do inventory? I didn't know what inventory entailed. do you want to, I forget what they were paying per hour, but for back in that time, it was okay. He said, you want to do inventory, but you have to miss a day of school. You want to cut class? And I said, I'll just ask my mom and dad. And so it was like a 12 or 13-hour day. I never want to do inventory of a department store again.
Yeah, no. How old were you again?
Probably 10th grade.
So like 15, 16?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to do. Like my son, he's taking like college courses in high school. And so he's finally getting used to it, and he wants to get a job.
Uh-huh.
And I'm fine with it as long as it doesn't affect his schooling. But he has no idea like what work, like real work is. So he's naming jobs, and I was like, no, you're not. I mean, I worked in restaurants and food, and I was like, son, that's not something you want to do. Like, no disrespect to that, because that's hard work. That's the hardest work I ever did was in the food industry. And I was like, plus you're talking about fast food. Like, that's like they barely respect you in a really good restaurant. Fast food's like you're just another face in the cog. And like this kid is like, he's got this like really idealistic view of the world about how like respect, and if I show respect, I'll get it. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like that.
Let me introduce you to Mr. Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, you should be respectful to everyone just because that's what you should do. But like, you don't expect people to do, like, you can't have those expectations to everyone else. Because sometimes I hear his girlfriend complain about stuff being unfair, and I'm like, yeah, it is unfair. But like, it's Subway, so.
I'll tell you what's unfair, and I'm old school about this.
Yeah.
Is because when I played t-ball and well, I don't think, and this is one of those things that harkens back to the older day.
Yeah.
It went t-ball, midget league, which you could not have a midget league. You couldn't call it that.
What's midget league?
It's in between t-ball and little league.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, well, because you're not as old as me. So,
midget league. That's interesting.
So it was like, t-ball was when you're 5 and 6, and then I think 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there, you're in midget league, and then 10 and over or whatever, you're in little league.
Okay.
But now I kind of got off track where I was going.
Something about t-ball. That's all I know.
Yeah, but there was something else.
You said unfair.
Oh, yeah. All kids now get like, I don't mind so much if they get a participation award, but when they all get like a first place trophy, like my son played t-ball 1 year and he got a participation trophy and a first place trophy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they didn't keep score. They didn't, it's like, I know they're young, but you got to teach them early that, don't expect a handout.
Oh yeah. I don't know if that's why they give the trophies. Like, to me, my take on the trophies is, you shouldn't put all your feelings into a piece of plastic. Like there's guys who came in first place in high school and they still stare at that trophy like it means something.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
Like, and that's a common thing. Like, that's not even an uncommon thing. Like, I know a guy, every time I walk into his house, he shows me his awards for being a salesman. He no longer works for that company, nor does he do that job anymore.
Right.
But man, he loves those awards. Like,
that's what he's got to hang on to, right?
Yeah, and I think I get what you're saying. You have a valid point. Like, I'm not gonna say what you said is wrong, because it's not. But I think what people are trying to convey, like, this is my take, is that, like, you shouldn't put, like, who cares about the trophy? And then you're like, well, then don't give them. Well, okay, then let's not give them. Then people will complain about never getting trophies. Uh, so it's like you can get the trophy, but don't just put everything, like all your self worth, in that trophy. Like like as you get older, um, you stop getting those participation trophies.
Right.
Like that stops, and you get your rewards and trophies for. And you can say, well, they can learn that young, but does it really matter when they're 8? You could technically not give them anything, and they'd probably be just as happy getting like a Capri Sun bag, like But I think maybe even it's more for the parents.
Well, that's what I'm saying is it's the kid doesn't really understand it.
Yeah. Like I see there's validity in both sides of the argument. Like, because trust me, I hang out with some guys my age, older and younger, all around, and like it's to be honest, most people who are younger don't really care about the problem, or not the problem, what people see as a problem. Well, as it gets older, it becomes like an issue because people are growing. I grew up and you didn't get participation trophies,
Right.
But I was on the middle. I'm like on the cusp of when it was happening and it wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of see both sides. So like I always like whenever this conversation comes up with the people, I always say like the minute it starts to get a little over the top, because it tends to do that. I'll be like, hey guys, like we're talking about trophies. Like you don't have any kids, neither do you. Like, why do you care?
Right.
Like you don't even have kids. Neither one of you, whether you're 50, 40, or 20, like none of you have kids and you're fighting over it. And even if you do have kids, your kids are like 30 years old or 20 years old. Like,
your kids are grown.
Yeah, like who cares? Like, why do you care so much about this? Like, is it just because like you just feel like, well, I'm angry and I need people to know that I feel this way. And then the younger guy's like, well, I don't like that you feel this way. And you're like, well, you don't have kids either, man. I have kids, and I have one that is, he was in football, and then they lost 2 state championships, and I had to go through that. I'm going to talk about heartbreak, watching like kids crying on a football field, like crushed, man. And that lasts for a while too. Like they are just destroyed. And you want to talk about a worthless trophy? Is that second place trophy?
You're right.
Yeah, you want to talk about a worthless trophy? Like they were presented that, man. Yeah, you might as well you're giving them a bag of doo doo, because they did not care about that thing. They were very upset. They were crying, and my son couldn't do it a third year. He was like, I can't go through that again. So he just plays soccer now. Yeah, they went to state again. They didn't win. So that's 3 years in a row. Those God, they worked so hard.
Kind of like the Buffalo Bills going to the Super Bowl 4 times.
Yeah. Oh, poor guys. No one ever worries about them. I do. I'm like, God, that's soul crushing, man. Jim Kelly, man, poor guy. I mean, he's not poor. That guy.
Right. No, I know. Yeah. Poor that he went 4 times and couldn't seal the deal. What are the odds of even getting there 4 times? And then what are the odds on top of that of not winning 1 out of 4?
I know. Isn't that
astronomical,
horrible?
Right?
It is astronomical. Like you would think, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it happened.
I know.
The guy who owns that comic shop I go to is a Bills fan.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I say. Your reaction is every time. That's when he says he's a Bills fan. Everybody goes, ah.
it's hard for me being a Dolphins fan right now, but at least we have the perfect season.
You do, you Dolphin guys really do crunch on that perfect season.
Well,
What does everyone else say? They go, well, they did play less games, but
yeah,
I don't
but
care.
you know what?
It's still a perfect season.
It's still a perfect season, and the rules were, it was a tougher game back then, I think.
I think, yeah, definitely was tougher.
You didn't have all the technology and all the like refs getting in the way of calls and stuff.
That's true. See, I already got into football. It was like 1982, so it's like I was in the second grade, and I rooted for the Pittsburgh Steelers because my dad hated them.
You mean your dad that went to Germany a lot, right?
Yeah, he went to Germany when I was 2, and then came back when I was 6, and then left again when I was 10, and then he didn't live with us again until I had moved out. So, yes, that guy. He's a nice guy, I guess. I mean,
I hear you,
but
I'm just kind of bagging on you because we were talking about that German thing, and you were like, "Yeah, my dad's."
You guys are you're gonna make me cry, John.
No, I don't want to do that, Drew. That would make me feel really bad.
No, don't. The weird thing is, it's like people. I have friends. Like the things that have happened to me in my life, some may seem as traumatic or like horrible. I don't have problems, and I have a friend who tells me all the time. I just don't understand how you can talk about this stuff so openly. And the thing is, that like I don't know. It happened. It's done. Like there's nothing I can do about it. I've accepted, and I understand that forgiveness is for me, not for them.
Right.
So I don't know. I just move on. I have a good life, I think. So
I think you do too. It seems like you're having fun.
I am. I'm having lots of fun. Like I don't put value into weird stuff anymore, like I did when I was younger, like status or certain jobs or anything like that. I try when I meet people who still, um, I don't know, you feel like they hold this worth on things that don't really matter. But only reason you know that is because you've lived life. So you're
Right.
like, I know the road you're on.
Yep.
And man, I'm trying to tell you right now that like you're missing out on a lot because you're so worried about that thing, and I hope you get it. To be honest, like whatever you're looking for, I hope you get it. But like if you don't, like your life is not any less. Um, like can't put your self worth into stuff you can't control. It's craziness.
Keep going. You're making me feel good about myself.
Yeah, well, that's my job, sir. I told this lady, I met this lady at a con, right? She was a young lady, I think in her 20s. This was in November, and she was doing a portfolio review with Chris Ryle. And Chris Ryle was gracious enough to like share a table with me. He has, we're friends, so he asked me if I was going to the show, and I was like, "No, I don't have a table." He's like, "Well, just share mine." So I came down to Raleigh and shared his table. So he wasn't at the table, but he had portfolio reviews scheduled and stuff. And this young lady comes to the table. I can tell.
She says, "Hi, Chris."
Yeah. And yes, and she goes, "I know I'm really early," and I could tell she was visibly nervous, like she was shaking. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, "Are you nervous?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Is this your first time, portfolio review and stuff?" And she's like, "Yeah, I really don't know what to expect." And so I was like, "Okay, let's talk about this. Like, you need to take a deep breath. You need to calm down. It's fine. Whatever happens, there's still tomorrow, and then there's the day after that. So, like, it's not the end of the world if it doesn't go like you think." And also, like,
Now,
Like,
now at the time, that you were having this talk, did she know you weren't Chris?
yes. Because
Okay.
the minute she said, I have a review with you, I was like, oh, no, you don't.
That may not have been the right.
So we talked. Well, I talked to her and I said, look, I'm going to be here until Chris gets here. And if you need to sit here and we can talk and you can let's get you in the right headspace. Because right now you're suffering. I can see it. So let's get past that. Let's talk it out. What can we do? She's like, well, I think I should just go and sit and kind of sit in the corner and call. I was like, no. Don't do that because you're just going to build up more anxiety. I was like, you need to stay right here and talk yourself through it. And we'll be fine. I promise you. And I told her, I was like, I'm one of the things about being Buddhist, you want to ease people's suffering. That is you have to actively, not just go, oh, well, it's really bad for you. I'm sorry. You actually have to do something if you can. So I tried, and she at the end she was like, you know what, you made me feel really, really comfortable. I feel a lot better now. It felt good to know that that I don't know, you affected somebody in a positive way.
Right.
So yeah, and then we talked for probably 40 minutes. And there was this guy who just showed up and was trying to make the conversation about him for some reason. And I was like, oh, sir, please. I was like, she's trying to get in her right headspace. I'm sure you're pretty awesome too. But right now, this is not your time, I was like, can you let her kind of wrap her head around what's about to happen? Because she was really freaking out. This is the first time she ever showed anybody her work, and I looked through it and I was like, look, I can't. I don't give people work. I thought she was pretty good. Probably not something that is ready yet, but she had potential, and she obviously cared enough to come to a show to get her stuff looked at. So
that's a huge step.
It is a huge step. That's what I said. I always tell people you got to remember how many people actually finish stuff when they talk about comics. It's a small group of people who actually finish things. So if you finished your sample and did all that, man, you did something.
Mm-hmm.
More than a lot of people have done. But yeah, I don't know. One day I'm going to write a book about this stuff.
I believe that. I believe you will. In that spare time in between cooking dinner and doing your 6 head sketch for the day and third page.
I have one more panel after this, and this page is done. I only try and limit myself. See, I think the key to this is some people do pages and they just do as many as they can in a day.
Right.
They push themselves. I mean, if you have a deadline, I get it, but if you know when your deadline is and you're easily going to meet it at a page a day,
right,
you should just leave it at that. And then when you hit that page, if you want to do more, I'm not saying don't, but
right.
You can do other things. You can sleep.
Well, other people could. I don't think you could.
I can't.
I don't think you're a person that likes to sleep much.
I don't. I always feel like I missed out on a lot as a kid, and I got to make up for it. It's I don't know. There's just a lot of opportunity, a lot of things I wasn't able to do when I was younger. That I feel kind of like I'm making up for now, which kind of explains why I'm so childish. At times, I do silly things that I regret later, but make a story. Telling my son about this time I jumped off this roof. It was like a 2-story building. And I jumped off of it like a crazy person. I don't mean just like I fell, like as in I dropped straight down. I ran and jumped off at a party. I may have been inebriated in some way or another.
Yes.
And let me just tell you, it was a jarring experience to say the least. I thought I was going to hit the fence in the next door neighbor's house. Because I jumped so far out, and it dawned on me that I may impale myself.
Oh man!
On this fence next door in midair.
Not good.
No, I didn't though. I landed in a pile of dog poo. Though I wasn't proud of that. And I kind of knocked myself out for a little bit. But I told my son, I was like, you know, he's heard the story before. I was like, do you think I did that because I was inebriated, or do you think I did that for attention? I was 21. I was like, I'm going to give you that information. I was 21 at a party. Why do you think I did that? And he's like, well, did you attention? I was like, totally. I did that for attention. Maybe didn't know I was doing it for attention, but now 23 years later, I can tell you, son, I did it for attention. And I got it. But man, I don't know. It hurt. It hurt really bad.
And you learned a lesson. Never do that again.
It was like one of those Wile E. Coyote moments. Like, we went on this room, and I can talk about this because statutes of limitation on getting high, right? I was at this party. I was meeting a new roommate, and my closest friend at the time was like, "Hey, we're gonna go on the roof and smoke some weed." And I was like, "Cool, I'll do that." I was a young, impressionable man. We went on the roof, and then he kicks the ladder off. And I was like, "Why did you do that?" And he goes, "Oh, we'll just jump down." And it didn't even occur to me that was a thing. So I was like, okay. So we're on this roof in the middle of the night, probably like 15 of us, getting high, staring at the stars. And then I was like, man, I want to go down. So I asked my friend, I said, hey, how do we get down? And he goes, just jump.
You just fly down, Drew.
And I was like, and I looked, and there were these bushes there, like where we climbed up. And I went, how am I supposed to clear those bushes? He's like, just run and jump. And I was like, okay. And I took like 10 steps back, and I start running, and I heard some guy go, what the F is he doing? And I just jumped. And I swear, in midair, everything froze. And I was just like, what am I doing? Like, that's when the fence, impaling myself, like, this is the dumbest, like, it was like the time froze.
Is it not amazing in those moments, like, how much your mind can process?
Yeah, because I was going through scenarios. And that fall might have lasted a second and a half.
Yep.
But I hit the ground really hard. My knees hit my chin. And then I flew back up in the air like Snatch style because it was like getting punched in the face.
Right.
And then I hit the ground. I've got knockout lights, the flashing pop, 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 pop lights. Yep. I'm kind of dazed, and I'm laying, and I kind of look up, and I see my friend walk to the lowest part of the roof, which makes it about 1 story, not 2. And then he hangs and drops. So he drops about 4 feet. And I went, you son of a bitch. Like, that's what you meant by jump. Why didn't you just say hang and drop? Not jump. I jumped at the top, like where the roof peaked. And then my other roommate, who I hadn't met, walks up to me. I see his head, and he goes, "Hey, man, that was crazy. Is that your beer in the fridge?" I went, "Yeah." He's like, "Mind if I have some?" I was like, "If you help me up." Said, "Yes." Um,
Hey, man, have you been watching that show Jackass?
I know. I've done a lot of that, especially when I was skateboarding. We would do dumb stuff like that. Run from police. I fell down this fence once and knocked down this baby tree, and then slid down a drainage ditch head first, and actually had to have help to get out because if I tried to get up, I would have slid into the ocean.
Oh,
So people had to grab my feet and pull me out, and then the fire department hosed me off because I was covered in like sludge and sewage mud. Uh, yeah, and that's while we were running from the police because we climbed this fence to get away from them. Um, and then on the other side, the fire department. And the weird thing was, the police didn't come around the fence like they did. They could have went around, like drove around, and probably arrested us. I guess
it's more hassle. It's more hassle. Probably.
He's really like, look at those firemen spraying him off with that hose, which didn't feel good. I want you to know that wasn't a refreshing moment in my life.
They probably had the pressure up on that thing quite a bit.
I don't know, but it hurt. But it did get all the dirt off. I will say that. Yeah, when he got around my head, it felt like somebody punching me in the head. But I don't know if they did that on purpose. And then the cops went, "That's punishment enough."
So are we going roof jumping at Heroes Con this year?
No. Well, we had this thing. My friends, we used to climb buildings for fun when we weren't skateboarding, and like really tall buildings. And we would scale them and then get to the roof and then climb down. But I don't know why. I really don't. Other than we were just bored. Like we were really bored. I don't know.
Really bored.
Yeah, we'd steal donuts out of Dunkin' Donuts dumpster.
the ones they had to throw out.
Yes, we'd wait, and then the guy would come out with 2 garbage bags every time, 2 garbage bags, and then you throw them in the dumpster, and we jump in and grab the new bags. At least I hope we were grabbing the right bags. And then we would have donut fights in like parking lots. We stopped that because it actually made the news once that they were looking for vandals or
donut bandits.
Because I mean, when you have 2 garbage bags, John, of donuts, and you're throwing them around, it makes a huge mess. Like it's crazy how bad a parking lot looks after that's done.
Man, I didn't do anything like this when I was younger.
Yeah, I sowed my oats, man. That's what I told my wife. I sowed them. I grew up in a not so great neighborhood, so I did anything I could to stay out of it, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So like the people I hung out with, I got into skateboarding in high school, and like being from the South, and I'm not down in the South. I love living here. But at the time in the late 80s, early 90s, it wasn't so copacetic, like with the riots and all that was going on. And, there was like where I lived near Pine Chapel in Hampton, somebody had been like hung. Like they did an HBO documentary about it. Like that's how bad.
That is pretty.
Yeah. So, and I grew up in a kind of, well, it was a hood. Like people smoked crack in the laundry rooms and the hallways and stuff. So I tried to stay away as much as I could. So when I got a license, I'd go skateboarding, and I found that people who like other kids who skateboarded, like it didn't matter if you're black if you're white, if you're Asian, it just didn't matter. You all skateboarded, and you just did
You
it.
had that in common.
Yeah. We were, and no one really liked us, you know. Like, you know, we were like the miscreants, man. Like the jocks didn't like us, the gangsters didn't really like us, like they. So we were mutually like kind of hated by everyone,
Right.
but also at the same time, not really. You know, I know it was weird. Um, but yeah, so we would make up things to do, and I mean, I got arrested once, uh, and it was a trumped up charge, but they expunged it when I was 18. It was an arson charge, um, which I had nothing to do with. But I had to go to like youth counseling and stuff, man.
You sound surprised.
Well, no, because I had nothing to do with. Like I didn't like. None of us did. It was we were just. This sounds even worse. We were. I was.
It's all right, people. Pay attention. It's getting worse.
We were just playing. We were playing tag, sir, as 16-year-olds on this playground that looked like a giant ship, like a boat. It was 10 o'clock at night. We had nothing to do, and we're like, out of nowhere, they go, "Hey, let's go play tag," right? And we were doing that.
Why not?
Huh?
I said, yeah, why not? Let's go play tag.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's hard to believe that like kids that are 16, 17 years old are playing tag at 10 o'clock at night on a playground. But okay, it was private property. It was like a daycare that had this ship. That was where we messed up. And somebody called the police, I guess. And I remember standing on the top of the slide on the top of this ship, which is probably about 20 feet high.
Just like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes, and I saw flashlights. And I didn't know what it was. So I was like, maybe it's more people. Maybe they want to play.
You waved them over.
I did. I was like, hey guys, you guys want to play? Come on. And I heard another voice from across the way. It was a very portly police trying to climb a fence on the opposite side. And he goes, "I'm coming, Bill." And next thing I know, I hear "freeze" on the ground. And I was like, what is going on? They searched us, and one of us had a lighter. And somebody had tried to burn the place down 2 days before.
Yeah. So
they just pinned it on us. Had to spend a night in the drunk tank. Not a night, a few hours. Because that's where they took us for our parents to pick us up. And my parents were out of town.
I was going to say, was that the longest wait in the world?
Yeah, well, my mom was in Korea. And my dad didn't live with us.
Long wait. And my mom's on her way from Korea. It's going to be a while.
Well, here's the crazy thing. My dad was in Philly. That's where he was working. And I didn't know his phone number.
Right.
Like, I just didn't know it. I didn't even know his home number, to be honest. So
you said he's in Germany.
And my dad.
My mom's in Korea.
My mom's in Korea. And my friend Chris, who's now a storyboard artist at DreamWorks, his mother and father said they were my legal guardian. And back in the day, oh, hey, Mark, he knows. Back in the day, like, you could just say that. Like, they didn't ask them for any identification. They were just like, okay. And then we had to go to this thing. But Chris and I got to go together since his parents were my legal guardian.
There you go.
But my mom didn't show up again. Like, she left in November, right? And like, she goes, "I'm going to Korea. Drive me to the airport." Like, this is the first time I had heard of it. Okay, in November, right before Thanksgiving. And I go, cool. So she gives me like $400, and she says, "I'll be back in 2 weeks." So I took that money. I said $400 for 2 weeks. I can live on bologna and cereal, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I did. I bought bologna, cereal, and deodorant. Um, and then I spent the rest on like CDs and skateboards and clothes. Uh, my mom didn't show up again until mid-January.
So Chris's parents really were your.
Well, they did. They bought me. They technically, yes. No, I didn't know when my mom was coming back. We got arrested. I want to say it was in November. It was before Christmas. Um, uh, it didn't help our case either that we were still playing tag on the way to the car, the squad car.
You're it. No, you're it.
Yeah, that's what we were doing. It was horrible.
Real quick, I just want to say hello to Billy Ray came in and Mark Deering is in here. And AG, yes, this is the first time I've ever drawn this clown character. So
yeah, I have tons of those stories. One day we'll have to.
We're doing it now. We're telling those stories now. You go right ahead.
I have tons of them. Yeah, my mom left for like 2.5 months. Well, the only thing that was crazy is my dad didn't know she was gone either.
Right.
So he shows up like at Christmas. And at this time, me being a 16-year-old boy, I didn't understand that like rent and bills and all that. Like, who was paying those?
Well, I wouldn't either at 16.
The apartment people came up to my house and was like you guys owe us like rent for 2 months. And I was like, I don't owe you anything. Like, what are you talking about?
Who are you?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I knew the lady because I would drop off the rent check for my mom because she worked during the day. So, and I'd been doing that since I was 10. So I would just either I found out you just don't like they had a slot you could drop it in, but your check disappears when you do that. You actually have to give it to a lady. I learned that early.
Yeah.
But my dad got back in December or came home in December, and I told him, there's like, where's your mom? I was like, I don't know. You tell me. Like, where is she? I didn't have a phone number or anything for her, anything like that. So my dad, I guess, what I came to find out later is like he paid all the bills with my mom's credit card. I didn't know you could do that either. Like it's like 1990 or 91. So, but I found out that later. My dad he left on Christmas or the day before. I don't remember. I think it was the day before on Christmas. I don't know. Like eventually, I got worried in mid-January. I will say, like the second week of January, I was sweating it, man. I was like, God, is she ever coming back? And then I got a phone call to pick her up, and let me just say, the house was in disarray. She was so mad. Oh my God! You left a 16-year-old boy alone for 2.5 months with his vagrant ass friends. That house looked a wreck.
So who got to clean it?
To be honest, she did. I didn't. I caught a whipping. Like you wouldn't believe. Like coffee cups and shoes.
Anything that could be thrown.
Yeah, she could throw. She was throwing ashtrays because she smoked, man. But my thing was, I remember yelling at her like, don't be mad at me. I didn't even know if you were coming home.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's what made her feel bad, in a way. Didn't stop her from throwing stuff. But yeah, it was crazy. Like I just remember people, it never even got out like to like adults that I was alone. which I thought was strange. Like now you could never get away with that.
No.
Somebody would find out.
Oh yeah.
But everybody knew and no one said anything.
Well, take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, it was a crazy time. It was fun in a way. It was terrifying in another, but it was fun in a way. God, that building is kicking my ass, sir. Oh, I think it's almost done. You have any wild times in your life, John?
No, I'm not like that. Boy.
That's nothing, John.
I'm trying to think what a wild time for me was. Staying out past 11 o'clock and being afraid that my dad was going to be awake when I got home, and he never was. He would always wait to the next day and then just be like, "Where were you?"
Oh yeah, he give you he let you think you were home free.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I remember, like I told you, I think I told you this. I was telling a story from my past at a after party at somebody's house from a comic convention in West Virginia, and I just remember the guy going, "You?" I was like, "Yeah, isn't that crazy?" Like me, it was me. That did happen. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and now you live a normal life.
Yes. I would never, like, it's fun to talk about those times, but never ever, dude. Never ever again. God, no way.
And now your kids can ask you, like, so what you're telling me is I shouldn't jump off that building.
Yeah, don't do stuff to get attention. You're fine.
You're like, hey, you go ahead, but when the hospital calls me, I'm not coming.
Yeah, I could have really hurt myself. Like,
right?
I think about that all the time. Like, I could have broken both my legs. I don't know. I attribute it to being inebriated, and also I was skateboarding a lot then, so I was very limber.
Right.
So I'm attributing it to that. But
and just still, dumb, stupid luck.
Dumb, stupid luck. Because I landed right on my feet. Like, I didn't land awkward at all. You
landed like a cat.
Yes. But except for the knees that hit me in the face. That was the part that wasn't so graceful.
But going back to what you said, it's totally amazing how much your mind can think about. I'm gonna break my knees. I'm gonna do this. When I hit, your mind can. It's like you slow down.
You think when Tex Avery, when he did that, like when Wile E. Coyote pauses and he goes, boop, and then he falls. Yeah. Do you think that's like? Because to me, that's storytelling. That totally is kind of how it is. Like, everything seems to stop for a second.
Yeah.
And you think of all this horrible stuff, and then you hit the ground. To be honest, John, I don't remember anything from the top of my fall until I hit the bottom. Like, I don't remember flying past windows or anything. I just remember, like, being in the air and then not being in the air.
But you remember those thoughts?
Yes, I do. Because I remember going, what the F am I doing? What am I thinking? And like I said, at the time, now that I can look back on it, I can tell you I did it for attention. I'm smarter than that. I mean, come on. I don't care like how high I was. That had nothing to do with it. It wasn't my first rodeo. Let's just say that.
Right. Yeah.
So I know, like, now thinking back, that was all to get attention from whoever. I regretted it though the second it happened.
The second you were in mid-flight,
yeah. Like, well, I will.
I'm an a-hole.
The second I heard, "What the F is he doing?" I went, "Oh, this is a bad idea." But I was like in mid-stride, man. I couldn't stop.
Nope.
I had committed. My friend Bobby would tell you, you have to commit to the bit.
You took that leap of faith.
Yeah, it was dumb. You know, my parents know nothing about any of this stuff, by the way.
And so it doesn't matter if they do.
If my dad is somehow listening, oops. Oh, sorry. It was 24, 5 years ago.
I don't think you're going to get a spanking for it now.
Oh, when I got my first tattoo, my mom, she hit me.
When was that?
Like 5 years ago. I think.
I love that now. That's a typical Korean mother.
Yeah, she told I was expecting it. So it wasn't like I was like, oh, surprise. Oh yeah, I knew she was gonna hate it.
Now did you show it to her, or did you just let her discover it?
I just let her discover it. I just figured, you know what?
Drew, what's that on your arm?
Yeah. That's totally what it was. And then when I told her, you know, of course it's the Rishikage symbol, but it's also in the I Ching for complete, like being complete. And which is also, this symbol is half of the Korean flag. Now the other half is heaven and earth. So when she saw it, she knew what it was, but not that it was for G.I. Joe. But she knew what it was. And when I kind of played it off like it was because we were Korean.
Yeah. She
was kind of not okay with it, but like it wasn't so bad. She was just like, "Don't get any more," and I did get more. So I did get more, and
you know, I've thought about tattoos. I never got one because I can't commit to anything.
It hurts.
I mean, I can commit to a relationship. I can't commit to a tattoo.
Yeah. My son wanted one, and I was like, "What do you get?" He's like, "I don't know." And I was like, "That's why you're not getting one."
Yeah.
I'm not saying they all have to mean something. They don't. They don't have to mean anything. But you got to at least kind of, you can't just be like, "I want a tattoo because whatever." I mean,
because I'm drunk and there's a tattoo parlor open, and
now kids can get tattoos under 18 as long as they have their parents' consent.
Yep.
All my son's teammates, when he played football, half of them were tatted up everywhere. I was like, that kid looks like he's 24. Nope, he's 15. I was like, geez. Like, he looks, and some of them kids, like, from those rural areas, like, those, like, corn-fed, like, they were huge. Like, I was like, man, that kid's like 6'7". He's as wide as two of me. How old is he? 15.
Yeah.
Crazy. He has a full beard. I can't even do a full beard.
That's because you're Korean.
That's true. My beard looks horrible. Mark, who was watching, has a glorious beard when he grows it.
I think I've seen his glorious beard.
Yeah, he has it sometimes. He has a very nice beard when he wants it. It's pretty awesome. I can't do it. I wish I could. All I get is this like patchy mess. It's weird because my dad's beard is nice, but I take more from my mother, I guess.
Right.
Oh. Yeah, that panel, I think, you know what? I'm going to add some tones to it. Why?
Because you can.
Yeah, I can, and my editor doesn't really mind.
Does it give your colors any troubles?
Sometimes some colors complain. Rebecca hasn't complained at all. Some will tell me.
Are you doing like a wash or like a dot pattern?
Dot pattern? Like here, let me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, see?
Yeah, like the old Zipatone.
Yeah, it's got a texture to it too. So it looks like it's done on paper.
Because I heard, you know, like the ink wash type stuff that
Yeah.
colors have a hard time, but everyone does a lot of it nowadays. So
if you do an overlay layer, it turns the grays to whatever color you're using. So, like, and I know that's what the grays are there for, to create the values.
right.
But I don't know if a lot of colorists want to use an overlay layer because they can wash out some of their colors. But to both sides, it could wash out some of their colors, but the gray is there for value anyway. So, like, I guess it just comes down to like either the artist or the colorist or the editor, how that works.
Right.
I try and do it on a separate layer. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I forget to. Okay, let me be 100% honest. Most of the time, I forget to. But I can lie and say I do it all the time, but I'm not good at lying. So
Anymore.
no, I was never good at it. You can ask my wife too. I'm just not good at it. I'm uncomfortable doing it, so it's very obvious if I'm lying. Like if I ever lie to you, I'm gonna try and lie to you face to face next time. I'm gonna make something up. I guarantee you'll be like, dude, he's
well,
totally
with the stories you've primed me with, I'm not gonna know what's.
No, those are true.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You could tell me you murdered someone now, and I'd believe you.
That never happened. But I do have a story of precarious events that I won't talk about publicly like that. Yes. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, this is done. I'm gonna add some dust. A little bit of white. Oh, excuse me.
No problem.
I had a cherry Coke. Cherry Coke seems to be more carbonated to me than your standard Coke. Not cocaine, John. I never did that.
I was beginning to think, okay,
no, I had rules in my head of what I could and couldn't do, and cocaine was one of the things I would never do.
Coke. Let me tell you, did I tell you about the time that I?
Yeah, I was never like maybe weed, mushrooms, mescaline, acid, stuff like that, but never cocaine, heroin, or anything dealing with needles or snorting. I just, yeah, I no.
I'm with you there.
No.
I just said I'm no on that.
Yeah, I pass. That's a hard pass. I also seen people like coked out, and it's not like attractive or appealing in any way. So yeah, I used to know this guy. He would come. He had this like real nasally voice, and he was giant. I'm not gonna name his name because he's not here, and he'd probably kick my ass, to be honest, if he heard it. But he had like really broad shoulders, very built, and he was like hyper aggressive, like to everyone except for me. He liked me, and I couldn't tell you why. He just did, and he told me he liked me. He's just like, I like you, Drew. But he'd be like yeah, like.
Yeah, see, he was doing Edward G. Robinson.
Yeah, like Edward G. Robinson, you know.
Hey, Drew, let me tell you something. See,
yeah,
you're one of us.
Man. Yeah, maybe I was one of. Well, I mean, I was friends with his friends, and I don't know.
I understand you jumped off a roof. See, that carries a lot of weight with me, man. I'm gonna call on you one day.
He was a coke dealer. Not that I had. That's why I knew him. I knew him because he was friends of a friend. But
he was your friend's coke dealer.
Man, that guy was no. He was just a childhood friend. And that just happened to be what he did. and he collected really high end like Frazetta and Dragon statues, which was weird for the '90s. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is a guy like that, a guy who wears jean jackets and moccasins, doing that? But yeah, I'll tell you some stories about him one day, John. They're hilarious. They're more dangerous stories, but we're not going to talk about that.
You're a family man now.
Yeah, I am. It's funny though.
Both of your kids are boys?
Yes, sir.
Boy, I kind of thought it would be nice to have a girl, but I'm glad I had a boy because I would be the end of the Beatty name of our family.
Yeah.
Now my older sister, whose son is, to put this in perspective, her son that she didn't. His middle name is Beatty, and he's 33 or 34 now.
Yeah.
My nephew, and she named him that. That was her second kid because she just gave up hope of me ever getting married and having kids and carrying on the name.
No.
I didn't tell anybody. I was waiting until I was 51 to have a kid. That was my goal all along. When I'm in my mid 50s, that's when I'm going to start.
And now my plan is complete. Oh, that's funny.
And it's so funny because I tell my son Jacob about, I try to talk to him about death, and I'm like, well, I'm an old dad, and I hope I'm around a long time. And then sometimes he'll ask me a question, and he's like, Daddy, not to be like rude, but and he plays that game Roblox, and
yeah, so does my son.
Yeah, when you die in Roblox, they make this oof sound. Yeah. So he goes, but Dad, I hope you don't oof for a long time. It's like, well, Jacob, I hope so too,
Yeah. That's my eldest learned about death early because his best friend till he was like 4, or maybe it was 3 or almost 4, was his grandfather, and his grandfather passed. He just remembers. He remembers his grandfather going to the hospital, and then he passed in the hospital. And then my wife, a year later, got meningitis.
Oh, and had to go to the hospital?
Yeah, she was quarantined in the hospital.
Right.
In a vacuum sealed room because meningitis is highly contagious. So she was in the hospital for like 2 weeks, and he wasn't allowed to see her. So I remember him because under 18 you couldn't even go in there. Because you have to know that it's still a possibility. You have to go in there in full scrubs and a mask. And then you also had to go through this room before you got to the room because the room is sealed. And I remember my son telling me, he's just like, Dad, is Mom gonna come back? And God, it was killing me. I was just like, no, she'll be fine. But he didn't. I could tell he didn't believe me. He's like, I heard this before with Grandpa,
right? And
he never came back. So at a very early age, he was acclimated with death. My youngest, however, has not. He's kind of like your son. He's very yeah, I hope it doesn't happen. He's aware of more aware of people not being around, because now that my son's 16 and has a license, he's never around. And he came to me the other day and he's like, Daddy, Cameron's not around a lot anymore. What happens when he goes to college? I'm never going to see him again. and it broke my heart. Like I was just like, oh. So like we're trying like today before he went out to go hang out with his girlfriend because they're out of school. Uh, we're like, you have to spend some time with your younger brother, like
Right.
before you go. Like even if it's just an hour or two, because it's gonna mean a lot. Because yeah, it's true. In a year, you're gonna be gone, and he's only 8 right now. He'll be 9 when you're gone. Like, like you don't want him to remember his childhood with you as you not being there. So like spend a little time. He did. They played Fortnite together, and I heard them talking this morning. So um, yeah, it's rough, John. Uh, wait till your son gets older and he starts doing the teenager stuff.
Oh, I've already told him. I said, I said, there's going to come a day when you don't feel like you love daddy and you don't feel like daddy's cool and stuff like that. And he's like, oh no, that'll never happen. I said, it will.
Yeah.
But hi, JD. Yep, I'm looking forward to tonight.
Yeah, I was looking at the thing too.
And let's see. Rod says, no, my son's in first grade.
Mine's in second. They're teaching them algebra in second grade.
Really?
Well, this school they are. It's ridiculous. That and he had to do a paper on that. He had to do a project on economics.
Oh yeah, you had mentioned that, and I was like, what?
Not even like, hey, what is economics? What are natural resources? What are the other two? Natural, oh God, natural human resources, and what is the third resource? The third resource is like, tools and things you use to make things. Oh God, I forget. But he had to do a project explaining that and opening a business and what you're going to sell, capital resources. Yeah. I was like, I thought it was just going to be some silly, I got a cookie store and I sell cookies. No, it was a lot more than that. Jesus. I was like, I didn't do anything like this till high school.
I don't even know if I did it. I just wanted to get out and do comics really bad.
God, I would have loved that right out of high school.
Well, it took me like you graduate in June, and then I graduated in 79, and so in July of 1980, that's when I started working.
Wow.
So that year I spent, of course, doing more samples, and I had a job, so did the job.
And then continue to get work.
Yeah.
Not being in New York, did that affect you at all? Like, it must have been hard.
Not really. I was surprised. They never said I had to move there, and that's a good, or even close by. And with Mike living in Connecticut, I started going to his place once in the summer, once in the winter, like so twice a year, and I would just go up there, and I had no real like timeline of when I was going to leave. It was always 4 to 6 weeks. Whenever I could tell Mike was kind of getting tired of me being around. Okay. Like, hey, I better go.
Did you just fly up there?
Sometimes I flew, sometimes I drove.
It's a long drive.
It is a long drive, and south of the border.
Back then, you needed actual road atlases and stuff.
Well, I just took 95 all the way up.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty easy. Although this was back also though when the speed limit was 55.
Yeah, everywhere.
If you haven't done that in a while, go on when you're on the highway next time, get in the slow lane and do 55 and imagine what that's like.
No, thank you. I don't want to have to murder myself.
Now, when you started driving, was the speed limit on the highway 55?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. I don't know what it was like to do anything but 55 until I don't know how many years ago they finally put the speed limit back up.
I think it was the second year or third year. I mean, so like 1996, 7, we got like 65, but not where like I had to be closer to Williamsburg, not where I am at. It was 55. Like the minute when you got into places where it was just heavily wooded,
right,
it would drop. Yeah. It would go up to 65. But now like 70, 65, 60 where I'm at.
70 means you can go 80.
That's what you sound like my wife. I was like, no, that's not what that means.
No, actually, Ron is the speed demon.
Yeah, I believe it. No, I'm joking.
No, he's got the tickets to prove it.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Ron doesn't like going slow.
Neither does my wife. It's crazy.
Does she like doing 110?
Dude, once we were coming back from Orlando, and she drives a lot because she doesn't like. I can drive for 18 hours straight, and I'm fine. But the problem is, I only go 5 to 8 miles over the speed limit max.
Yeah.
She has to go at least 10 plus. So we're driving on the way back from Orlando. As we're passing this 18-wheeler, he starts blaring his horn, and I see him as we're passing him because he's going like 65, 70. And we're shooting by him like he's almost standing still. His hands like motioning down. And I was like, that guy's telling you to slow down. You should probably slow down. And we do. And I swear to you, maybe 2 miles up the road, there was a state trooper just sitting there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was just like trying to be like, look, you're going to get arrested. She was going like 110, 112 at least. Yeah, it was. But good. Thankfully for that trucker, helped us out.
That's right. Ron says 168's been his top speed.
Jeez. I've only been in a car going 121.
He sent me a picture of his odometer. I remember that now.
Jeez, man.
While he was going that fast, he snapped a picture.
That's crazy.
Let's see. Rod says his son has been listening. I'm sorry. He's now starting to go through my comics, pulling out all the Captain Americas, and he keeps asking me, "Did he do this one? Did he do this?" Okay. Well, maybe he shouldn't listen to this one.
Yeah, we'll let you hear more stories.
We'll let Rod. Rod can make the call on that.
Yeah, stories are done. I'm not doing it anymore. Yeah, like I said, I'll see you at Heroes. Well, I can give you some good ones. Because I didn't start doing comics till way later. I wanted to do comics, but to be honest, I wasn't ready. Also, other things are more important to me. Probably getting inebriated.
Yeah,
was just way more important to me. Well, I'm not saying that's a good thing.
No,
I'm just saying it's just the way it was. And then when I had a kid, yeah, all that changed. I quit everything. The day my wife told me I'm pregnant, I quit smoking cigarettes. I quit everything. Like nothing. Like I became straight edge all the way. Like
you became Saint Drew.
Yeah, I didn't drink anymore. I didn't do anything. Not even beer. I just wouldn't drink. And even then, I was still kind of a selfish guy because I was going to like technical school and working in a restaurant and trying. That's when I decided I wanted to do comics too, like really try become a better artist. So
Right.
I pretty much what I did was instead of facing the fact I was going to be a father, I tried to lose myself in all this other stuff. Um, so I wouldn't have to take responsibility of being a dad. That's what I think now. Uh, I could tell you it was because I thought I was going to do the best for my kid, but let's be honest. Uh, Trying to learn how to draw. Well, I knew how to draw, but like actually get professional quality work, get a bunch of IT certifications, and work full time. Like you're running from something because none of that leaves time for your family. Um, but after he was born, um, that's when I realized uh, what I was doing. Um, just holding him,
Mm-hmm.
it just like my whole world fell apart. I was just like, and I apologized to my wife for being so selfish. Um, then I just worked hard. I did
And
the
you're
IT
still,
thing.
and you're still apologizing because she's Filipino.
Yeah, I know. Well, she was just she of course was just like, oh no,
No, that story you told the other day when your wife said, why have you been staying up all these hours? You got these opportunities and now you're saying no. And it's like,
what's the
man, that was great.
yeah, what was the point of everything?
Yeah.
I was like, oh
That,
yeah. I have a good lady. Uh, she's awesome. Um, I don't know. I lucked out in that lottery. Uh,
it is hard to, for other people and the spouse, friends, whatever, to really understand, you know, what we do. It's because it's more than just freelance, I think, you know.
it's a it's so much more.
Yeah, I mean, it's a love, it's like
Because you wouldn't do this for like
I don't do it for the money, that's for sure.
well yeah and like the sacrifice you have to make like you better love it like because juice isn't worth the squeeze a lot of times.
I know it.
I mean, I see people complain about it all the time online,
Yeah,
and I get it. Like they're right. We don't
yeah,
get paid enough.
yeah.
We're often lied to and thrown under the bus, and we have no way to defend ourselves. Because if we try, we could you could get blackballed from something like or lies being told about you. So you just kind of like grin and bear it. And,
Yep, I've been all through that.
yeah, and it happens. But like, there's also the moments when you're 8 issues into a run, your editor is great, and your writer and team are wonderful.
That was a very smooth pivot.
Yeah, you see that,
I
and
see
it's
what you did
worth
there.
it.
I like it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. I got paid early, which was super cool. Thank you, accounting. Uh, I checked my bank account and I was like, oh, hey, look at that. It's like 5 days early.
Wow.
Weird. So, which is wonderful. Not complaining about that. My wife was like, what? I was like, I got paid early. uh, Not that this company has ever really paid me late, but um, not early. No one really ever pays you early, except for Image Man. Image is pretty on point with pay. Um, I will say that those guys or ladies, uh, their accounting department is top notch, man. Like, um, they will pay you. If there was one day, well, one voucher that was like a day late, and and I emailed them and I was just like, hey, it wasn't even like I'm angry or anything, because they had always been so studious and on time. I was just asking because it's not like them to be like that.
Right.
And Yeah, I swear, it like an hour later it was in there.
Wow.
Like they took care of it. They're like, "Oh, so sorry." Like it was a holiday weekend, and it was. It put us behind, and I don't know how we missed you, and it should be there later today. And yeah, sure enough, man, I'll say like an hour and a half, it was there. So it was like that's always awesome. That doesn't always happen. Um, so yeah, Image, the ladies over at Image Accounting. Yay, I love you. I don't care what anybody else says. You guys are great.
There you go. Some props for the accounting people.
Yes. The people at Dynamite are great too. This others that aren't so great. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to keep it positive, right? I don't know about Marvel and DC. I've never worked for them.
Where do you want me to sign it, AG? Down in the. I could blacken this in a little bit more and it'd give me more area.
I like it.
Ron asked how many issues of Vampirella Red Sonja are out now. He has 1 through 5.
I think 6 is out. Just came out like 2 weeks ago. 7 comes out in a few weeks.
Steve Woodard. 6 is out now, Drew, or coming?
Yeah, it came out 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And 7 should be out at the beginning or mid. What's next month? March. Yes. And then 8. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm counting for you. Then 8, then 9, then 9. I think I'm only doing up to 12.
You can use your toes if you need to.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I'll see what happens. I'm gonna ask when I get to about issue 10 and see where I'm at. I don't know. Maybe they want to move me to something else, or maybe I'll have to look for work somewhere else. I don't know, but I like to know at least 2 or 3 months in advance for sure. I've had a couple offers I've had to like kind of turn away because I can't do 2 full-time books.
I think you can.
I have.
See, I think you can do it.
I've done 3.
All right, get on it, Drew. You did go back and tell them you've reconsidered.
Yeah, I did. When I first started working full-time freelance, I did 3. There was 1 month I had like a book out every week, or a book or a cover out every week, and it was like 3 months in a row or something like that. I was like, this is crazy. And then I passed out from exhaustion. No, I don't know. I think that was me panicking because I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna make money.
I'm gonna work myself to death. That's how.
That's what I did. It didn't work out too well. One of the projects, they ended up firing me. But I found out later that because like that project was really, and I'm not going to say what it is, but I can tell you what happened. And it was you were talking about this.
About the thing that happened or the project?
No, just a situation. You were talking about like how sometimes you find out later that an editor was trying to get rid of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this project, I have pages from it still. I only did 1 issue. I was supposed to do like 6 or 7 issues, but the editor who hired me quit. Right, the company altogether, and I got a new editor, and like it just didn't start out that great. I don't know. I just got a vibe from it all, like that she wasn't like really feeling my work. Like she didn't pick me, the other guy did. So they had me. The edits were crazy, John. it was like, change this. And then another guy would be like, oh, why'd you change that? I like the way it was. Change it back. And I would, and that person would be like, "Oh no, you listen to me. You need to change." That happened on every page like a dozen times. So needless to say, the book was late, like by like 2 months.
Right.
The other two books I was working on were out on time. But that one just couldn't get off the ground. Well, years later, a friend of mine met that editor's assistant, and he had quit that company too. And he meets my friend. He goes, "Oh, you know Drew?" And he goes, "Yeah. I hang out with Drew all the time." He goes, "Tell him I'm sorry what they're, about what they were doing to him." And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, like they're trying to get him to quit. I guess so they could bring on the artists that they had before. But instead of just firing me outright, they let me. I don't know. They're trying to get me to quit. So at that one point, I guess they're just trying to make me miserable enough. So like when they fired me, I went, "You're firing me," and I went, "Thank you. Have a great life." And that was the last time I talked to them. And my friend was like, "You told him to have a good life or have a great life?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's kind of like saying F you." I was like, "Is it?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, that's what I was saying." But yeah, they were trying to get me to quit. And it's too bad they didn't know I was Korean. Because we don't quit at anything, John.
That's what I understand.
Yeah, we don't quit, man. You gotta kill us first.
I had a similar incident where an editor was trying to he called me to tell me he had to take me off the book.
Yeah.
Because and this is a Jim Shooter story, but it's a long time ago, so I really don't have no will towards Jim or anything.
And he can't
because it was to put Vinny on the book. It was on my second run on Captain America inking Paul Neary's layouts. And that was the one where Shooter, I talked to David on the interview about this, where he gave me the lecture about, inking. And, from what I understood, I was doing exactly what he wanted, and everybody should look at my work and blah, blah, blah. And I can't remember, but it's easy to, I won't name the editor, but it's easy to find in the books. But I never had like a good feeling about the editor, even when he was an assistant editor. I mean, it's just one of those things, you
had a bad vibe from him.
Well, he was kind of how would I say, phony, I guess that's the easiest way to put it.
No, I get it. Yeah, it's all smiles up front.
Right. I mean, I do know he liked my work and stuff, but he went over the top to compliment you, like how great you were and everything. And that just gets to the point where it's like ad nauseum, it's like, relax,
It raised red flags for you.
It's like, if you like this stuff, just say you like it. You don't have to ooh and ah, like everything. Just say good job or, thank you, whatever. But, so I get a call, and it was, again, the bad calls usually happen later in the evening.
Oh, is that right? I gotta remember.
I think so. At least that's what I remember. Well, the good and the bad ones, I guess. But this one was around 7:30. It was evening because I remember it was getting dark out, and so he calls up and he starts a conversation about me inking Captain America, and right away my spider sense started tingling. I'm like, I got a feeling this is not going to be a good call. And luckily, I had already, and it seemed to happen for me twice this way, where I was going to make a jump. The first time was when I was going to go from JLA over to Captain America. I already had that lined up. And when I had to quit, I didn't know how to. And I've told that story. But so this one, the guy was calling because Jim wanted Vinnie Coletta to take over the inking. And they were good friends. And so what Jim wanted, Jim would get. So the editor was calling me and he's like, I really like your work. And it's like just totally out of the blue, And he goes, the issue you're working on, what issue is that again? He's pretending like he don't know and stuff. And I tell him, and he's like, yeah, that issue. How's that going? And I said, oh, it's going fine. And he's like, oh, that's great. And he's stammering around. And I said, let me stop you right there. I said, you're calling to tell me this is my last one, right? And there was like this uncomfortable silent pause, and he's like, yeah, and he didn't know what to say. And I said, okay. I said, look, I'm going to make it easy for you. I said, I know the position you're in. And I said, I realize if you lose your job, you're probably going to have a harder time finding work than me. So let me make it easy. I'll finish this issue and you can put on who you need to put on the book to make whoever it is you need to make happy. And I said, that way you don't have to feel like you're a bad guy, And he's like, oh, wow, I can't believe. He said, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah. And I had just told the guy I didn't think he could get work. He told me he didn't, I mean, he's just, he was not a good editor. He was just a traffic manager. And I mean, that's what I call a bad editor. Just somebody that, moves pages from one person to the next.
Yeah. Some editors are like that.
I just took the pressure off his shoulders and I just told him, I don't think you can find another job. So I'm going to make this really easy for you. I said, I get it. You give that issue to whoever you need to. And man, he breathed that sigh of relief.
Like, man, good.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you kind of fired yourself.
Well,
you just let him know.
The ace in the hole was I didn't tell him that I was going to be inking the Nom starting with issue 5, and Golden was going to get me pages like I think it was the week after or something. Yeah. So I had just enough time. I was going to have to call him and quit the book anyway, because Larry Hama had called me and I had already talked to Golden about inking the book because they couldn't find Armando. He just like disappears, and I heard that was kind of standard for him. He would just like go somewhere and disappear, so that's why they had like issue 4 was inked by Pepe Moreno.
Yeah.
And I was going to be the new inker starting with issue 5. So I talked it over with Golden. Golden told Larry. Larry gave me a call, asked me if I wanted to be on the book, and I said yeah. And he goes, all right, sounds like a plan to me. So I had that already lined up, and I knew Golden, had done pages. They were getting lettered, and I would be getting them. So luckily, I had that I could easily like play my trump card.
Yeah, because you already had a job lined up.
Right. I probably still would have played it the same way, because actually during that time, I pretty much could find work pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like around 80. It was after the Punisher miniseries. So, I just went back on Captain America because it was offered to me and it was over layout. So I got a little bit of extra pay.
You got to draw a little too.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, with Shooter's new way of inking, it was like, he basically wanted stuff like coloring book style. Like if you had a black in the foreground, that's it. No more blacks in the midground, the background, nothing. Like if you had Nick Fury in the foreground and you you filled in his eye patch black and his hair black and stuff.
Yeah.
There's no blacks in the rest of the panel.
Really?
Yeah, there's like one major black area. And if I would have chosen to put my blacks in the background, then Nick Fury would have been left open for coloring.
Weird.
Don't make the eye patch black. Leave it open, and we'll make it a navy blue or something in coloring. To his hangouts, and she actually had to go track him down. I think he was in Ohio somewhere, maybe Michigan. He had left the city and just disappeared. He just ghosted, and nobody could find him. And they needed pages, and Larry was like, "Can you find him, Pat?" And she goes, "I'll contact some people." That's the story. That's the story I heard. Now, see, I'm being the gossip. That's the story. I don't, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that's what I heard.
Did you see that they're doing an artist edition of the Micronauts?
Yeah, I did.
That's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. What I want to know is what's the extra stuff in there, because it said there's going to be some. I don't know. Some sort of stuff.
Maybe sketches.
To be honest, I'm not a big fan of Rubenstein's inking over Golden. So it's not that exciting to me. If it was what I would rather have is like an artist edition of like Golden artifacts that he's inked himself.
Oh, okay.
That type of stuff.
Jackie Chan Adventures?
No, I have good black and whites of that. And, his originals are so clean that I kind of do like to see the old editorial marks and stuff and the white out and corrections. And you don't see that on his originals. It just doesn't happen. So I'm kind of excited. I'll probably pick it up, but like I said, I'm not really a fan of Joe over him.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting, and that's how, in the first few issues there were, it took place in Daytona Beach, and there was actually like a matchbook from a tire company that I actually used to be down the street from me here, and a few other things that were very Daytona Beachish that you had to live here, to know. And so that's when I think I was it you I told that, or maybe we told it on a stream.
When you read Golden?
Yeah.
You and Craig told me about that.
Yeah, when I accidentally found out where he was, that was pretty wild.
Hey, now you're friends.
Yeah.
For many years.
Yeah, actually, since I think it's issue 10, he inked a panel, or he inked a Captain America. I don't know if it was the whole panel. There may have been a little figure behind him over Zek. And then I asked him, since they were Zek's layouts, I said, "Hey, how would you tighten these pencils up?" And he tightened up a Wolverine and a Nightcrawler, and they're both together in a smallish panel.
Yeah.
He tightened those up like really nice pencils. And so I think it's issue 10. See if you can find those. If you have it. I mean, if you don't, no big deal. But it'll be interesting to see if anybody can spot the. I've already given away that the panel that he took Zek's layouts and did tight pencils on had Wolverine and Nightcrawler in it. And the panel he inked is like a Captain America head.
You're done with your Violator.
I am done with it.
You got a lot of the McFarlane squigglies in there.
Yeah, I tried.
I like it.
I could do 1,000 more though, right?
Would it be enough though?
Probably not, but
I mean, I was a huge McFarlane fan when I was younger. I don't know. He doesn't really draw much anymore, so it's hard not to be a fan anymore,
Right.
But I can definitely tell when he inks something, you're like, gee, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of lines, man. But he's so quick.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I don't think his art is bad. I just don't see enough of it, I guess, to have an opinion. Is that
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I'm bashing the guy because I told the guy's a legend. I mean, come on. But still, like I said, I don't really see enough of his work anymore to feel indifferent about it.
Well, his stuff for me is not about figure drawing. It's about, action and excitement and stuff,
Yeah, it's pretty. That issue where Hulk gets punched to space is pretty awesome. That Spider-Man issue he drew, and the cover's like Spider-Man punching Hulk, and he's in space holding his breath. And I just remember his expression. He has like his cheeks full of air, and he's floating in space. I was like, that's amazing. But I was always way more into expression back then.
Well, I remember, I think the first stuff I ever saw McFarlane do was for DC. Was it the JSA?
Yes.
And I always liked the capes he drew because even though they technically didn't work, they just looked like they did, and they looked very cool.
Yeah, he did those year 2 covers, and him and Alan Davis.
Right. Yep. Yeah, which was weird. You got Alan Davis, and yet I guess DC. That's what brought him over to DC. Was they offered him Batman covers for year 2? Because
is that what it was?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember any other DC work before that.
Okay, I know he did Batman and the Outsiders after that.
Yeah, but that may have been what, I mean, he did DC work, then he went to Marvel, then back over to DC.
Yeah,
I think, right?
Yeah, that seems to be happening. Like Olivier Coipel did but he never really did much at DC, right? He went there for like a year and did like a cover or 2.
Well, and that's why I was talking about Chris Somney. He was at DC for a year, and he did some variant covers, but not for a year. I mean, I thought they had him, hatched away working on like a 12-issue maxi Batman series that was going to be released, like, it could have been like a weekly thing. Give the guy a year, do 12 issues, have it come out every other week, or even monthly.
I don't know how exclusives work. Was he still getting paid whether he was doing something or not?
I'm sure he had to be.
Because I'd be like, wait, why did I slide this exclusive?
Because he was doing fine over at Marvel, and then there was a big announcement that DC hired him away from Marvel, and then within the month or a month later, somebody else left Marvel for DC on an exclusive, and I can't remember who it was.
Bendis, maybe?
Who?
Bendis? Or were you talking
about? Yes, it was Bendis. It was the writer, yeah.
See, I thought they were going to end up working together.
But yeah, that could have been.
I don't know. Who knows how this stuff works, man?
Yeah, I think Mark's right.
Anything gets done at all.
He said it. Mark Deering said Infinity Inc., and I think he's right. I just remember
Infinity Inc. You're right.
Yeah, I just remember, like I said, I remembered he drew some really interesting capes, and when you tried to draw through them, they didn't really connect, but they just looked cool.
Yeah, they don't make sense. You're right. But then a lot of stuff back then didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It felt like I remember when McFarlane in an interview said the reason he did capes like that is because, like, if he didn't feel like drawing a leg or an arm, he'd just cover it with the cape. I was like, oh, they're gonna think everyone does that. Maybe people did. I don't know. I always thought, like, aesthetically, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You shouldn't have to, like, I don't know, hide an arm or leg because you don't want to draw it.
Right.
But I remember him saying that in an interview. I was like, I don't feel like doing the leg. I just cover it with this cape. I just do it all black. I'm like, Jesus. Oh, don't say that. That was a long time ago. I think that was in the 90s when he said that. It might even have been on one of those Marvel videos he did.
It could have been. Yeah, in fact, it probably was.
Man, I used to watch those things all the time.
Those were pretty. When those came out, those were like something. What I thought was really cutting edge. Like, wow, people are getting videos made about themselves now.
It's like a show, man.
Really,
I was all about it. Being from small town Virginia, being able to see comic artists draw was like a huge. I mean, we had conventions and stuff, but you'd have Colleen, because Colleen Duran lived here, so she would definitely be there. Sometimes Chris Sprouse would show up, Charles Vess, Charles Vess.
Yep.
Who else? I'm trying to think.
Is Chris Sprouse still there?
I don't know. I just.
It's been a while since I've seen him. I inked him a few times and enjoyed it. He's a huge Golden fan too, so we had that in common.
I just remember it was crazy seeing that he had he would have the drawing
front and back.
Yes. Yes. I was like, this is crazy.
I remember when I got pages from him and I'm like, wow, it's like
so which side do you do?
I think he did like
white box inks.
No, I think he like did, because it was more about getting his structure and stuff on the backside, and then he would turn over it himself in Lightbox and do the finish pencils, and he could see any errors.
I guess it's just like the digital flip.
Right, exactly.
But like manually. I remember seeing that and going, wow, it's like getting 2 drawings when you buy his pages.
Yeah, definitely.
But still getting to see like Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld, and they had the Will Eisner one. I swear there's a Ramita Senior one.
Yes, well, wait a minute. Was there?
I don't know. I know I've seen Ramita Senior draw, but I don't know if it was on that.
That may have been on YouTube.
Yeah, probably.
I've seen him do a Spider-Man on YouTube.
Uh-oh. Oh. Dang. Verizon trying to sell me a phone. You're going to try and sell me a phone when I'm using your phone?
It's time to upgrade, Drew.
It is. I'm not paying anything. My phone is paid off. So they're probably trying to get me to upgrade.
Yeah. What do you have? What are you using?
7 Plus, iPhone 7 Plus.
Okay, I have an 8, just a regular, but I think mine's paid off for it too. It should be, and they keep, AT&T will be like, "Hey, you could upgrade," and I'm like, "Well, I just upgraded my wife's phone and got my son a iMac Mini, or not an iMac Mini, iPad Mini." So I got enough business with AT&T right now.
That's what I said. I did the same thing. I upgraded my wife's phone and my son's phone. And I'm good. As long as it runs square at cons.
Right.
And I don't have to deal with it slowing down, then I'm fine. I don't have to have the best phone ever.
No. I usually trade when my phone starts to I charge it. I put it on charger every night, and if I've been up for 2 or 3 hours and it's already dropped to like 60 or 50%, I usually start looking to trade about then.
This battery's been okay. I checked the battery life on it. I think it's at like 80-some%.
Yeah, no, the one I have now, it's not giving me any trouble. So,
I feel you, John. Why change it if you're fine?
Yeah, and I know where everything is on the phone. I hate switching over stuff.
Well, with the iPhone, as long as you log in with your account, it move everything over.
Yeah, I know, but you just
Yeah, you never know. Something could go wrong.
But it's just like a motor skill memory. It's like when, I know the 11s. I don't know. I have a little case around mine, little cheap one that I bought off of Amazon for like $7 that I've had for a couple years, and it's beginning to like peel and crack away. It doesn't even have a screen cover, and the reason I got it was for Square because I didn't have the Bluetooth reader back then, so I got the one that I'd bought a case for it, but the reader wouldn't plug in, so I was like, well, I'll just buy a real slim case and only use it at conventions, and then I just kept it on there and have ever since.
They offered an upgrade to me right before a show, and I remember going,
No, you don't upgrade just before a show.
Yeah, and then after that, I had a regular show, no problems. I was like, you know what? Why even upgrade then? Um, I mean, I don't know. I don't have to have the latest greatest. I guess that's why, like, as an IT person, like, in order to be a good IT person, like, you really gotta like it, and you gotta like to keep up with it. It's kind of your job,
right?
And I just never cared that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I could fix things and whatnot, but like, I don't care what's new. But they would send me to classes and seminars, learning all this new stuff, and then I'd have to come back and tell them what I learned and blah blah blah. And then the brass tacks of it is like, what does it do that's different, and what does it do that makes things easier?
And if they're not going to upgrade, it doesn't really help either, right?
Yeah. How much does it cost? Oh, it's just $45 million.
Yeah. We're not upgrading yet. We just figured you should know it.
I remember when Blade servers first came out. There's these like really skinny servers that you could like fit like a bunch in one rack. Like they have these racks in the server rooms. And back in when I first started, a server was huge. So it'd be like maybe 2-3 servers per rack. And with these Blade servers, I mean, you could put like a dozen or more in there. And they were going to upgrade all our servers to Blade servers. And I forget how much it was, like $12 million, $20 million, something crazy like that. And I was just like, man, this is like just like that. Like, this is what we're doing, and this is how much it costs. They'll be in tomorrow, their techs, and then we're there to assist them to transition over. And I was like, how much is that going to cost? You guys can't give me like a 10% raise? What's going on, man? Like, I'm only asking for 10%.
Formerly Rod Line thinks he says he remembers. He noticed that Art Adams' long shot series when he thinks of those the guys right before McFarlane and Liefeld and Art was working on that series forever. When I broke in the business, I think he was either starting it or had already started it, and it was already like way late. But Art and McFarlane are both, they're big guys at Golden. Golden, they go back to Michael Golden's work, especially Art.
Yeah, you can definitely see it in his work.
Golden, there's some story, I forget what it was, but there was at some convention and Golden was telling me, and I'll have to paraphrase, and he'll beat me up at the show we're doing at the end of the month if I get it wrong. But I think somebody was like, telling him that he drew a lot like Art Adams.
Ouch.
Yeah. They're like,
that's a bad thing. Art Adams is amazing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, when it's backwards and you're telling like, it's almost like, let's say Golden is like the father of Art Adams, right? So to speak, artistic father. And they're telling you like, wow, your stuff really reminds me of Art Adams. And Golden's trying to tell the guys like, yeah, I was in the business before Art. He was influenced by me. Without him, he wouldn't have a career. And this guy just couldn't get it through his head. And I can't remember if Art was a couple tables down from Golden or something. I think he was. And so Golden finally, like, because the guy just wouldn't stop. He, I think he said, "Hey, Art, come here." And Art came down and said, "Tell this guy," and he goes, "Oh yeah, I learned everything from Michael."
Oh.
And it's just like, you get those people that are just insistent. And they weren't there, I mean.
Yeah. Well, I think like that is one of my, I guess it's a pet peeve when people, instead of, they look at your work and the first thing they say is, "Oh man, you're kind of like Ed McGuinness mixed with this and then this artist." Like, but then I get it. You don't have a point of reference other than comic art.
Right.
So, like, yeah, I don't know. And there are influences, but like I just don't like when people do that. Or everything's a style. Like,
right.
Well, why'd you go with this style? And it seems like this style would work, and you're just, oh God, stop it. I don't know why, and maybe there's a lack of a better term is the problem.
Right.
But I hear that so much, even from other artists. Man, I'm thinking about changing my style to this, or I'm going to use this style, and I'm like, why don't you just draw what the book needs? Like, if it's a horror book, you're going to use more shadows.
Yeah.
If it's a superhero book, it's got to be like dynamic and energetic. Like, you should just adapt to whatever the story needs.
Yeah, Lloyd. Golden started in the 70s, and Art was
80s, mid 80s.
I think he was right in the business. I got in at 80. He may have been in like months before me, because I remember that long shot. Some of that stuff. It was
taken years.
It was in Ann Nocenti's office. She was the editor of it. And in fact, I had a chance. There's a Marvel Fanfare cover that Art drew. It's like a close-up of a woman with, I think she's got a mask of with flowing.
Yeah, and it's like she's got a visor on.
Yeah, and I
remember that.
I think
Black Widow is in the reflection.
Okay, that's what it was then, because it was another one of those jobs. It was over George Perez. I think myself and Brett Breeding split that job inking, and I can't remember. But memory serves me correct. Ann Nocenti called me to ask me if I could ink the cover.
Oh yeah.
And this was before. I think this was before Longshot was even out. But Art had done the cover to that, and that's the way I remember it. And I couldn't do it, so I had to say no. But so that's a chance that I didn't get to ink Art. And then I actually did get to ink a page of Art at a Miami convention. He was running late on an annual. Could have been a Spider-Man annual.
I have that Web of Spider-Man annual he did, and Mike Mignola did the backup.
Okay, then that was probably it. Was that?
It was an old one, because Mignola's got more of a superhero, almost like P. Craig Russell,
So like probably around 82, 83-ish?
No, I
81?
86, man.
Well, I just remember one Miami show. Arthur was there, and I remember inking a page, and a lot of other people inked pages to help him get it done because he was at the convention. So
I remember listening to an interview with him about 10 years ago on a podcast, and he's like, the last thing you ever want to do is tell him to take his time.
Yeah.
Because he's like, to me, that's telling me you don't want it done ever. He's like, you have to give him a deadline or he's not going to finish. And that's him saying that.
Right. Well, and I understand that. It's kind of, the mindset of you have a deadline does help, It
does, because 86. Yeah, because that's one of my favorite. I buy that Web of Spider-Man annual like all the time because I don't want to look for it. So I might have 6 copies of it, and it has a sweet. I think it's a Charles Vest cover. It's painted. It's got the
okay.
It's got the spider signal with the black symbiote Spider-Man and the walking into it or crawling into it. It is gorgeous, and I own a bunch of, and I own multiple copies of it that are different or have been printed wrong and right, like where they're crooked or the colors are all off. But they're always in the dollar bin, unbelievably.
You know what I picked up, or I used to all the time, I can't find them anymore, is the G.I. Joe Yearbook 1 that Golden did.
Yeah.
And I used to just keep copies of that on hand because a lot of people didn't know about it because they weren't G.I. Joe fans, but they were Golden fans. And I saw the original pages when they were coming into Marvel. Bob Harris was the editor, and he saw me this is when he had an office upstairs, and he saw me downstairs one time and he said, "Hey, John, come up to my office when you get a chance." And I was like, "Oh, job offer maybe or something." Not that I was looking for one, but you never know, maybe a cover or something. Yeah. And so I went up there, 20 minutes later or so, and "Hey, what's up, Bob?" He goes, "Hey, look in that top drawer." And I opened it up, and it was like the first 5 or 6 pages of that annual. And I was looking at them, and I was just like, "Oh, this is fantastic." And he goes, "Go ahead and make copies if you want."
Really?
Yeah. So I ran downstairs to the copy machine.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And, some more pages came in when I was up there. So I don't think I got the whole book, but I may have. I think the originals were still in the drawer on one of my return visits. So I think I actually had full-size copies and probably still do have a set somewhere of the unlettered art. But it was really cool to and that was one of those jobs where he really cartooned and animated up stuff, like the vehicles were twisting and turning, and people had not seen that type of stuff, especially on a G.I. Joe thing. And I know that a lot of people didn't like it, but a lot of people just loved it. And so I could pick those things up cheap, like in the dollar bins, and I would buy them. And if somebody said, "Oh, I'm looking for a copy of that," I'm like, "I got one for you." And they're like, "You do? What do I owe you?" And I said, "Just pay postage, give me your address." So a lot of people missed out on it.
It's G.I. Joe had a lot of good covers too. Those special mission covers that Zek did are great. Man, he did a lot of G.I. Joe stuff.
Yeah, it's the inker on those.
Oh no, who cares about that
guy? Let's see. I figured out. I went through Zek's checklist. I think I inked 20 or 21 Joe covers over Zek, and that includes Special Missions #1.
Do you have copies of those?
You mean like of the
originals, or
no? We didn't know that stuff was gonna be. Who knew? Who knew back then? You just did it. Mike might have copies, but I don't. Mike probably knows who owns it or could find out. Like I said, we know the guy out in California who has all of the Punisher books 1 and 2. He owns all the covers. He owns the poster. He owns a lot of Zek stuff.
Well, I could afford it.
Hey, you know what? When we were selling that stuff back in the day, it was extremely affordable.
I bet it was. Like you said, no one knew then, right?
No. Even the people that bought it and resold it, I remember I bought from Comics Buyer's Guide, which was a weekly newspaper, a John Byrne, Terry Austin X-Men page that had Wolverine and Colossus squaring off to fight. And I paid $65 for it. And I think I was 19. I think I just got into the business, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get that page. I called the guy. He still had it. This is back in the day where you had to call. You still got that page? Okay, I'm sending you a check. So they would hold it for like, I don't know. Mail was a lot slower back then, but maybe a week. They get the check, then they deposit it, then they send you the page. And I got the page, and when I got it, it was great, but then I was like, oh man, $65. What was I thinking?
Yeah, but now
I could put a couple of zeros on the back of that and not even break a sweat. And any page from Vernon Austin's X-Men stuff, even the non-character pages, 10 grand is probably anywhere. 10 grand is probably, you could get that without even breaking a sweat.
Whatever happened to Terry Austin?
Terry was, I met him like once or twice, and he was always very quiet. And he just I know after working at Marvel and DC for a while, he started doing stuff at Archie, but he was just never one of those guys that got out and did much. And from what I understand, he was very regimented. He inked 2 pages a day. He would do one in the morning to around mid-afternoon or close to dinner. Then he would break and have dinner, and then he'd ink another page in the evening until he went to bed.
Yeah, see, he sounds like me. Am I going to fade into obscurity? Is that what you're telling me, sir?
No, I'm saying I think that's the lifestyle he wanted. But I also, from what I understand, he was pretty diligent about keeping everything he got back artwork-wise.
Yeah, I heard that he had those Dark Phoenix Saga inks.
Yep, and I think he may have actually finally sold that one, but the cover where Wolverine and Kitty Pryde are on it, the wanted posters.
Oh, jeez, man!
I think he had that cover, and everybody was always trying to get it from him. And I think it may have been finally put up for auction, and that's like retirement money right there. I mean, that's we're talking stupid money on that.
Yeah, that's what Mark was saying on there. He said Terry is home sitting on millions of dollars worth of art.
Yeah, exactly. So he was a smart guy.
So what you're saying is we all need to find out where Terry Austin lives.
Well, he probably still lives in Connecticut, as far as I know, unless he got tired of the cold and moved out.
Yeah, that I would love to see some of those pages.
Yeah, and from what I understand, he just kept them in a flat file, so they've not been exposed to any, conditions or anything.
Yeah. Jeez. I don't know. I haven't really seen a lot of original art from back then. I did get to see some Kirby pencil sketches for the Fantastic Four cartoon. Like for the character sheets. It was pretty awesome. They were just in pencil. They just looked so cool. The person who bought them was at Heroes. And
right.
I always ask people, what did you get? Because not just because, I don't want them to get anything from me. I just want to look at what they got.
Right.
And I'm flipping through, and there's some Assad Ribic in there, and some other people, Nick Bradshaw and stuff. And
now
pencil drawings, and I was like, "Are these real?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, those are who you think they are." And I was like, "Man, that's amazing."
Back to that X-Men cover, Lloyd says that it did go to auction, I guess, or it was sold, and it made $145,000 at auction.
That's insane. Oh,
that's some bucks there.
It's a little bit.
Yep. I could live off of that. I could live off of that for a year or more.
A few years, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of years. 100 and what? 43,000. He said. Right?
145.
45. Yeah. I mean, I would work and be fine. I wouldn't have to stress about getting paid on time.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Because man, that sucks. Because I mean, it's always a guessing game, and even if a company has never paid you late,
Oh, I know.
other ones have. It's like constantly on your mind. Like, am I really going to get paid on time or not?
I used to. I found out that Bob Greenberger was the guy that, number one, had the checks in his drawer to mail out, and he was also the first person to show up at DC every morning. He unlocked the doors and everything. So I was always an early riser, and I think he was like in the office by 8 or 8:15.
Yeah.
So if I knew I was sending in pages like within a day or two, I would call him up and say, "Hey, Bob, could you send me a check out because I'm going to be sending you pages like tomorrow?"
Oh, that's sweet.
And I said, I could really, if you can FedEx that check to me, and I had because sometimes they would do it on their dime, but I always, if I was having a check FedEx, I'd be like, you can put that on my account. And so they would just bill it to recipient, and he'd be like, all right. He goes, you haven't let me down yet. So I can do this for you. And he was always pretty cool about that.
I will say that statement you just said, that like, well, you've never let me down. So people are that still rings true. Like, as long as you're consistent, I find that people respond. Like, they're just like, oh well, it is you, and you've never like not actually come through. So people respond well to that. I always thought like there's some people who don't break the rule no matter what.
Right.
But then like people are like that guy you were talking about are just awesome. We're just like, yeah, I trust you, man. And they just kind of go with that. I love those people.
Lloyd says that Frank Miller's Wolverine cover 1 went for $250,000.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. And I believe I heard this last year that the cover that Zach and I did, Captain America Annual 8, went for right around that same price, if not the same price. I think it was last, and I don't think it was at auction, though. I think it was a private trade.
Yeah.
And I think it was right around that $250K mark, too. And that brings big horse tears to my eyes.
Yeah, too bad you guys don't get any kind of retainer for that, like God,
like just 5%.
Yeah, like something tiny like that. But what they say is, the only time I get upset with something like that is when I sell something to somebody and they give me a sob. Like, it's what happened. They give me a sob story. I sold this cover to this guy. It was like I was gonna sell it for $500, and this guy gave me this story about how this was one of the so important to him as a child, and him and his dad. And you know what? I was like, all right, man, I'll sell it to you for $200, right?
Right.
And then I found out like 2 weeks later that he had it on eBay, or no, he was on one of those Facebook art sites where they sell and trade comics and art.
Yeah.
And yeah, he got $500 for it. That pissed me off, and he was local. So I saw him again, and I was like, and I was like, he's like, he had heard I found out. And he came up to me, and he was just like, oh man, what? And I was like, no, like I know who you are now, and you know that I know who you are. So we're just gonna chalk this up to, it's a loss for me, and now you just don't buy art from me anymore.
Right.
Like that's where we're at. Like, and It's unfortunate, but like if he had just said, "Hey man, I can't afford 500. Could you do it for less?" I can respect that.
Right.
But you're gonna give me a sob story. But other than that, like if I sell it for what I want and I get it, I don't really care too much what they sell it for.
Yeah.
They get more power to them.
I know. I feel the same way.
But yeah, man, those guys who, God, they just conniving, man. I mean, some people come to me and like, thanks for giving me a good deal. I'm totally never gonna sell this. Like, you could even sign it to me. They don't have to do that. Like,
right.
I'm good. Like
now, to be honest, I've had people that I've done stuff for like that, and maybe it's even a commission, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to keep this forever and stuff," and it could be 3 or 5 years later. I'll get an email, and someone's like, "Hey, I know, I just wanted to see if it was okay because I promised you I'd never sell this, but I have a medical emergency or." I have, I've lost my job or something. I need to sell
it.
And they're like, I just wanted to make sure if you saw it for sale, you would know,
Oh, that's very nice of them.
Yeah, and I just tell them, hey, you do what you got to do. I completely understand.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to go to coloring, so I'm going to pop this over to you because I'm pretty much done here, and I'm going to have to bounce out of here at 2:00 anyway. So.
Oh, you got to pick up your son?
Well, I got to get headed that way. I got to do a few things before I get to his school. So he gets out at 3. I'll leave here a little after 2.
Yeah, luckily my son not all of them are out of school today.
Yep.
That half an inch of snow really put us all.
Hey, man, it's amazing though because the side streets are always last to get.
Oh, there's not even snow on the streets, sir.
Oh, really?
No. They're just so terrified of a lawsuit that they won't let the kids go to school.
That's funny.
Yeah, I spent time in my youth. I lived in West Virginia, Charleston, West Virginia. So I've seen snow, like real snow. And it always amazes me how people react here to snow. They're like, "Oh my God, there's something coming out of the sky, and it's not rain. What do we do?" I'm just gonna get this eye done. Yeah, I'll get off whenever you get off, sir.
All right.
That way, this is your channel.
I like that red skull. That's very nice.
I tried to mix a little Kirby in there.
Yeah.
And I tried to do Kirby and a little bit of myself.
You know what's funny is, well, you've probably seen it too. A lot of the modern artists, they'll put like an ear on Red Skull.
Yeah, that's weird.
I know. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Is it a mask? Is it really his face? It's like, I don't know. I don't question it. I just go with what Kirby did.
That's what I did. Well, actually, you and Zach do a really good skull. Like I said, one day that's a bucket list for me. Yeah, a red skull from you guys.
Zach does a lot of stuff good.
Yeah, that skull though, it reminds me of Kirby, but then it's him too.
Yeah, I know it.
I love his Doctor Doom. Geez, and of course, well, I'm not going to go with his Captain America because we all know that his Captain America and Punisher are second to none. But man, his Red Skull. Ugh.
Well, the last one he did, he actually put on the collar the SS buttons, and I hadn't seen him do that in a while, and I said, "Hey, Mike," I said, "the last one we did, we just put like a little square button." I said, "You sure you want to do the SS on this?" He goes, "It is the Red Skull," and I said, "Yeah," and he goes, So let's give him the Red Skull. I was like, okay. I just wanted to check.
Oh man, I have some like the old Captain America Kirby stuff that there's like swastikas and stuff in there.
Well, and that's what Zach said. He actually did bring up, he's like, that's the way Kirby did it.
Well, they were the bad guys.
Right.
Yeah, it's not glorifying it. He's got to look at his face.
Oh, I know it.
This isn't. Well, see, I say all that. To be honest, I totally would not put the swastika on this.
Billy,
I'm a bunch of big talk, but I wouldn't do it.
Billy Ray says he likes it. Likes your Red Skull.
Thank you. I have another one. You want to see some before we go?
I really like the one with the cosmic cube.
Yes, I'm going to color that one today too. If I can find it. I better hope I can find it.
I snuck in your house and stole it.
The crazy thing is, if somebody ever did anything like that, I'm good. I have the pencils on my computer. I just re-ink it. I've only done that once. I did this Dr. Doom on a sketch cover, and the guy didn't want it in color. Black and white. Right. And the guy stiffed me on that, by the way. Can we talk about that? Like, he asked me to do a sketch cover, and I'm backed up. So I said, well, here's the deal. When I finish it, you can pay me then. Right. That way you don't lose any money until it's done, and I don't get the pressure of having to do this commission for you, And I can do it in my spare time whenever I choose, and no pressure. And he's like, okay, cool. I'll, anytime you do it, just let me know and I'll do it. And I messaged him like 2 or 3 days before I started. I said, hey man, I'm going to start that skull. Is that cool? And he said, yeah, no problem. Well, I did it, or the Dr. Doom, and I did it, and then he just never paid me. And I messaged him. I said, look, man, not in a mean way. I was just like, hey, I know your life, whatever's going on in your life, you're busy. So what I'm going to do is, when you're not busy, we can just do another one. Right. And I'm just going to sell this one, and which I ended up donating it to charity. But a guy was like, well, I like that, but I don't want that one. I want 11 by 17 and in black and white. But luckily, I done it digital. So I just printed it out on 11 by 17 and inked it. So that's the only one I ever did twice. The same drawing, technically. But yeah, that's the other one. That's going to be cool. That cube is going to glow. I'm still don't know what I'm going to do with the back. If I'm going to do anything at all. But I thought with the glowing and the red's going to look nice on that blue. Yeah. And the hand. That's actually my hand. Oh, is it? Yeah. I took a picture. Like that.
In a mirror? How'd you do that? Or reverse you
reverse the camera and hold it like right. Yeah. And then what I do is I set the phone up like next to it, because I could put it on my Dropbox. Sometimes I'll do that where I'll take the picture and I'll make it small and I'll put it on the corner like right here. And then I'll draw it here and then I'll just make it bigger. But that one I actually held my phone in my hand as I drew. But it made it easy to draw, Yeah. And the cheat is this. The glove lines. They follow the lines on my hand. So it made the perspective easy to do. So, yes, I kind of cheated a little. I like the Red Skull. Like the way he looks.
Yeah, no, he's a good character.
A good, bad character.
Well, yeah.
It's just a good design.
All right, I'm putting in the chat. I am going to be 10 o'clock tonight on the Comic Core. There's a link to the they got a little countdown thing going. They made a nice little graphic. So
Comic Core? What's that?
It's another it's a YouTube channel. So I'll just be on there chatting with some guys.
Sweet.
I
may tune in for that.
Tune in and harass me, Drew.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
If I'm not busy.
even if you are busy.
Yeah. I could just do it. I did that yesterday while I was cooking.
That's right. You were in there.
Just to harass you. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing my own live stream on my channel that I never use.
You should.
But yeah, I'm lazy.
But it's a pain in the butt.
Well, you set all this up. I just click the link and join.
Well, that's why I said it's a little bit of a pain until you get used to it. And even I'm learning what works and what doesn't work.
So do you just share it to Twitter and then, because I joined on Twitter last night.
Well, I had to, I'm subscribed to this thing called StreamYard that makes it easy to go out to Twitter and YouTube. And then if you want to, or I could go to Facebook and YouTube. Lloyd can't get YouTube for some reason, so he started watching on Twitter, so I put it out there so he can join in.
For that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Google Hangouts used to do it, but they went away with Google Hangouts for YouTube, which I have no idea why.
Because Google owns YouTube now.
Yeah, I know that.
So they're just like, it's easier just to consolidate it instead of, they don't have to run it if they have people at YouTube doing it. Companies are smart like that. Apple does that. Oh, we want to get into headphones. Instead of making our own, we'll just buy Beats.
Right.
Then we can just let them, like, we can still make them, and they can take care of all the development and stuff. We just take the money.
Now, are you gonna yellow his teeth up just a touch?
Yeah. That's why I did this in orange. The orange also, you know what orange does to red.
Yeah.
That's why, like, you can't really see it, but the paper is a lot oranger than it looks on the
right.
I just got to figure out where the light's coming from. Well, it's got to come now. I was thinking this way.
Right.
But then now I already did that, so looks like it's gonna be this way. Let's see when it. Yeah, everything, it's so ugly until like the last 10 minutes of the coloring.
It's the way it is.
Then in the last 10 minutes, it all kind of comes together, and you're like, oh wow, that looks all right now.
Well, when I first started this channel, I'd have like very loose sketches and I would start inking it. And that was kind of the fun, was people would, at the very end, when the blacks were filled in and stuff, because I'd be leaving shapes open because I didn't want to deal with like wet black ink as I'm still inking around stuff.
Yes.
And then I'd fill it in and it'd all come together and people go like, oh, wow, that was really cool to see it, like, you know, from a rough pencil drawing that we could barely make out. And, you know, I threw lighting and stuff on it and then filled it in and boom, you know, it
magically becomes something.
Exactly.
Yeah. I call it fireworks. Like when we're at shows and people are watching you draw.
Right.
And then at first it's like, they're like, it's all right. And then all of a sudden it's like, pow, pow, pow. It's like, oh, wow. You put that little bit of white marker in there, the paint marker. They're like, oh, that looks really cool. That's the fireworks.
It's like splatter. It's like, you know, fan crack, you know.
Yeah, well, then it becomes fancy. Yeah, anytime you put paint into something, it validates it. I don't know why that is the way it is. I mean, not with everyone. That's a generalization, but I've noticed did you paint that?
Right.
Like, yeah, I put some gouache in there, and they're like, oh. They're like, oh, what happened there? I always say as long as the final piece is what matters, and are those materials that you're using going to last?
Right.
And if those two things are okay, then it doesn't matter what you use. As long as it looks good and as a final product. I don't care if you use crayons. I mean, like I said, I can't use microns worth a damn, but
Right.
there's people out there who can work magic with those things.
Rod, OBS is free, and I've heard, I looked into it. Streamlabs OBS is also a free thing, but the problem that I think, and I'm not 100% sure with them, is the person that you're with has to be in this. I don't know if you can do it remotely. Like, I'm in Florida, Drew's in Virginia, and I don't know if Streamlabs OBS can import him in as easy as like this StreamYard software can. So it's kind of like I'm still in that learning process of, so right now Streamlabs is the easiest thing. I literally just push a button to allow it to access my YouTube channel and my Twitter, and it just sends the feed right out. It does all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I'm actually buying an arm for my tablet here. So I can back, and then I can use the whole table so I can move the camera back.
Right.
And it also gives me an ability to actually use my table again.
Yeah, right.
Without having to use that little travel table. So yeah, it's only like $50. I found one on Amazon that seems like it'll work. If it doesn't, it's only $50. I'll use it for something. But I'm going to attach it to the back side of my table, and it goes out far enough to where I can use it, and then I can just lift it and push it back, and that way when I color, look at that, I can maybe do it
nice
at an angle where the shine doesn't.
Right.
Look at that. What if I drew it like that?
Oh, it's like Attack of the what is it? Attack of the Martians?
Mars Attack.
Mars Attack. Yeah. When you did that like big head thing. Yeah, there you go. See, I got this slant, so mine gets that perspective thing going too, where the camera's not exactly,
It's like a fisheye, a wide angle lens.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, if anybody wants, I haven't ever done this on here, but if anybody wants to get a head sketch or something like this, you can contact me. And like I said earlier, right now, no one pays up front. You pay when it's done, but I can't guarantee it's going to be done like within the week or something.
You want me to put your email in the chat, Drew?
Sure, that would be awesome.
Okay.
And then I can do you something if you like black and white and color. I think black and white is 50, color is 80 for headshots. And I have a rate list. So
yeah, I'm writing email Drew for rates and availability.
Yeah, and I think Ron he got that sweet.
He did.
That I liked. I really liked the way that came out. That was an experiment, and it came out okay. If I had messed that up, I would have just redrew it. But it came out all right. I never promoted myself. I didn't know if you would not like that, John. I don't
know. No. That's part of you coming here and hey, you're bringing new people to my channel. So why would I not help you out?
I'm bringing miscreants and deviants to your channel. Now I'm talking about Mark Deering. Only him. He's a miscreant and a deviant.
Oh. I hit enter before it was okay. Let me do it again.
That's the one thing I liked about the brush tip Prismas, and I'm sure the Copics are the same, is that you can like fade them out on the end.
You're Moss_Drew.
My email is moss.drew@gmail.
Okay.
On Twitter, it's moss_Drew. Or and then my Instagram is Drew or DREW Moss. And you can follow. You can get in touch with me there. Either way, I'm really easy to find. Just type in Drew Moss in Google.
Oh, Ron just put your Square Up store link in because he can do that because he's an administrator on my channel, so it'll actually turn into a hyperlink. It won't disappear.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm easily to contact, and I always respond back. I hate when people don't respond to emails.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I made a tweet about that, about some, people get in touch with me about a commission or something. I take the time to reply, maybe give them a quote, thank them for contacting me. And then I don't even get like anything back from them, like, thanks for the information, or, either I can't afford it, or, what else do you offer? Nothing.
Yeah. Well, remember when I was telling that guy stiff me on that Doom thing? This is what I wanted to mention. I wasn't upset about that, okay? But what I was upset about, somebody brought to my attention, not just in happenstance. I didn't tell them about that person, about this guy, and he was complaining about artists not following through on their commissions. And I was like, but you also did the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
And I more than followed through, but you ghosted me for a week, and then when you did reply, like you said you're going to pay, and then another week went by. But I like I said, I wasn't upset about it until I saw that. I was like, man, you were throwing this artist and that artist and this artist under the bus, but you also do the same thing.
Hey, I know I'm late on stuff, and I keep in contact with those people, and
I am too. And you're right. You do the right thing. You get an email, you respond immediately, right?
As soon as I can. Even if it's something that's I feel really needs my attention, if I'm in my car and it comes over my phone, I'll pull over like to some parking lot and type them a real quick one and just say, you know what? I'm in my car, but I wanted to respond to you. Let me get home, or let me get to where I'm going, and I'll be back in touch.
I do the same thing, because I can own when I'm behind.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm doing this. Like I don't take any payment up front thing. Also, sometimes people come up with really cool ideas for commissions, and it hits me, and I get like this burst of energy, like, oh, creative energy. I want to get that, do that, and then maybe at lunchtime I do it. And then they get it earlier than expected. But either way, it relieves the pressure off the person paying.
Right.
Even though some people have already paid and I owe them commissions. Thus why I draw like 20 headshots a day. I don't do these. None of these are for my health. I'm not doing these because I want to do these for fun. Every single one of these is for somebody. Hell, I just mailed like 9 commissions off this week.
And that's a chore right there, wrapping them all up.
Oh, it took one whole morning.
I know.
To do half of them.
Well, and that's because you take the time to wrap them correctly, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it took, like I said, I started at 9, and next thing I knew, it was 1. And I was like, geez. That's that day I got that late start. I was like, man, but you have to do it. I don't have an intern or somebody will do it for me.
Right, I don't either. And that Captain America head that I sent to you, all of that material that I sent, I paid for out of pocket.
Yeah, I still I forgot to take that with me when I went to the post office. It's already got the new label on it. It's ready to go.
Wasn't that great? I actually printed you a label out.
You did. All I have to do is, and I don't want to stick it in a mailbox. I have to take it to the post office.
Right.
I don't do that mess either. I actually go in the post office and hand it to them, even though I've already paid for them. Uh, I just don't want it to get stuck in a box and get bent. Um, so I
Well,
don't hand it to them.
luckily, I have one of the big pickup boxes
Oh yeah.
down below the office. Yeah, it's like the wide mouth thing where you can actually, if you wanted to, you could put a box in it.
Oh sweet. Yeah, I can only fit the 9x12s in the drop box at the post office. The 11x17s, like it just terrifies me.
Well, no, something like my little 6x8s like this. I will, if I don't go, I haven't used Click and Ship in a while.
Yeah, that's what I use.
I got away from it because sometimes, as we were just discussing, I'll spend too long wrapping stuff, and then I'm like, now I don't want to go back in and do Click and Ship. I've got a post office like 3 blocks down from me downtown here.
Oh, nice.
So I'll just drive down there, and it's usually not that busy like this time of year. So
I have like 3 post office near me, but all of them on Monday is a horror show.
Oh, Monday's always a bad day though.
Yeah, it is not good.
And then it's Tuesday if Monday's a holiday.
Yeah, so I always try and go Thursday. Like that's my day. Because I always know it's 99% of the time it's pretty dead on Thursday. It's just you got to tell people like, man, I'm sorry. Like they want you to mail it, and I'm like if I go mail yours, that means I got to go to the post office at least twice, if not 3 times this week. On top of drawing and on top of packing and like I don't think people understand that we have to do everything.
Yeah.
Like
I want to find somebody to wrap my stuff, but it's like I asked my wife, I told her I'd even pay her, but no, because she knows how picky I am.
Yeah, I would be the same way. And
I would be like, that piece of tape is not the way I would do it.
Or like, did you brace it? Like, how did you put it? Did you tape it down? Did you wrap it? Did you put cardboard on both sides? Like, then you take it apart and rewrap it anyway. Yeah. So, get off so you could go.
Do what?
Do you need me to get off so you can go? I don't want to keep you.
No, we got a few more minutes. They let kindergarten out first. The bell rings at 3, but my son doesn't get to the gym because they stagger the way the classes walk.
Yeah, they do that at my son's school too.
So he usually doesn't get to the gym to like 3:05. I just like to beat the people that think they're going to get their kid any faster if they cut other people off, and I don't want to get involved in. I did yesterday by accident where the kids, and then the cross guard stops and lets like 100 kids across, and that kills like 5 minutes, and then it's at a 4-way stop. So then all the cars are deciding, I was here first. No, I was here first. It's like, I wish the crosswalk person would.
Oh, they don't do that?
No.
Yeah, ours does. She's like, you go. Now you go.
All she does is stop the traffic so that once a group of like 30 to 50 kids congregate at the corner, she holds all the traffic up and lets them walk across the street.
Oh, yeah. Ours is a little more efficient than that. She goes in spurts. Like it'll be like a group of like 6 kids, 7 kids, and then she tells everybody when they can go and what order they go. She'll point at you.
Lloyd, he's the guy that can only watch through Twitter, I guess, says that he may be in touch with you for a headshot of the collector.
Ooh. The movie or the comic version?
I may have talked over you, Drew. You want to ask that again?
Oh, the movie or the comic version?
I'm pretty sure the comic version, because he's
that's the one I would prefer.
I was going to ask Lloyd, did he ever get in touch with Jared on his Harry Potter book page?
Oh, he sorted out that?
I think he did. Yeah, he says comic version.
Sweet.
Billy Ray says looking good on the skull.
Yeah, he's getting there. Yeah, I'll get you guys closer.
Nice.
Yeah, the depths coming in, and then I'll do like a what do you call it? A rim lighting on the edge here.
Yep.
Probably in blue blue or green, I think. I save his shirt for last. His shirt and his teeth. Is easy. That's the easy part, right? Like it's not so reflective. It's cloth. So.
All right, Lloyd. Lloyd says he still has to contact Jared.
Sweet.
I asked Jared if he wanted to come on today, but he said he had a lunch date, and that could be with his wife or something. But he's gonna do a 45-minute stream, he said, and I think it will be one of the book pages on his channel at 6 p.m. Eastern, which will be that's our time, 5 p.m. He's on the
John, you should start a YouTube, not a YouTube, like a network, little streaming network with Jared, maybe me, you, get a few other people.
Well, I'm trying.
And that way you can, like supporting their channels and yours.
Right.
And somebody will be on like at all times, one or the other, because they do that with podcasts. I have a friend who runs a podcast network, and he has like 6 or 7 different ones, and they all cross promote,
right?
And they're all never on at the same time, kind of maximize. I got to get that poppy red in there. The time. I don't know. I don't know if that's something you would want to do, because I have no idea what I'm doing.
So you're going to glaze everything with poppy red now?
Yeah.
And that's going to pop it.
Yeah, that's what unifies all that. And then I'll probably do some highlights.
Yep.
With it's like I forget what color it is. It's almost like a beige. Because I would do white, but his head's not. I don't feel it should be that shiny. To where the highlights would be a hard white, and plus, it would look cool. Don't get me wrong. When you pop white into something like this, it just screams. But I think it would compete with the more interesting parts of the drawing.
Oh, and I know somebody asked earlier what markers you use, and those are the Prismacolor brush tip, right?
Oh, there you go, Prismacolor Premier.
And they have the chisel tip on the other side.
Yes. No. They have small point.
Oh, okay.
They replaced the chisel with the brush.
I did not know that. That's why I was going to ask you, with a big area, why not use the chisel?
Oh, this brush tip covers so much more faster. I love this area under his chin.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then I'll take this pencil. We'll see. I might use yellow. We'll see though. This right here, it is light peach. Right there. Which is the same color I used right here. Mm-hmm. See, there's a transition in this area between a brick red to light beige or light peach. If you do this with the pencil, it totally blends that.
Right.
And then you can, yeah. This is how I normally draw. So,
you've seen Eric Larson draw, right?
Yeah, he draws but he draws like that. I draw I don't know. Since I was young, I guess teenager, maybe in college, and then I'll just do this to get rid of any excess and see if you can't really see it. When I take a picture of it, you'll see it. But I'm going to get a better camera for you guys. Because I just, it's so, everything's so washed out, it's like upsetting to me. And
I use these Logitech little C920s.
I'll look into that. Logitech C920.
Yeah, and they're about $60 or $70.
Yeah, yours is pretty clear. I like.
Well, the other bad thing about StreamYard that I'm using is they will only broadcast in 720p.
Yeah, I saw that.
So with artwork, I mean, you know, if you're just doing your face, that's not incredibly important, you know, if you're just talking, but I mean, it is, but when you're doing artwork, the 720p,
80, I think.
Yeah, that's why when people see originals that they get, all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, this, you know, they like it on camera. And then when they get the original and hold it, it's so much more, you know, insanely
pops.
Yeah.
Well, and even your iPhone camera doesn't capture all the colors.
Right.
This will be cool.
Some comic book hunter got my first Pigma brush like a week ago. I love it. And then he says, where do you find that big old eraser? At the big old eraser store.
This thing's probably like 15 years old. It's an old Stedler. I've got so many erasers, it's ridiculous. I also have this. If you draft, people who used to draft, right here, it's like I still use it when I
dirtbag.
Yes, when I do paint, like if I want to do a watercolor, I'll do in light pencil, usually red pencil, and I'll take this and rub it to get rid of the strong lines. Look, it just got erasure stuffs all over. But I've had that thing for God. Then you've got this thing.
Yep.
But then I've got a little multicolor one. See that? Yellow and red. They're kneaded erasers. These things are great because there's no erasures. There's no dust from these. But they're not the best eraser. But all I have to do is his shirt, and then I'm thinking about doing
this one. I think this is a smaller version of the bigger one you have, Drew. Right?
Yes. I have those are cool. Those are probably, I want to say, my second favorite. There's a new eraser I found. It's a super cheap eraser. If I could, I think it's in my backpack, but I got it for free from Jerry's. They just sent it to me with one of my orders, and it was pretty much in my head. I went, this is just crap, but I'll use it because I need an eraser. And man, that eraser's the best. It even erases ink.
And this is how the kneaded eraser comes. You know, you turn it into this little like putty thing, but they come as a little square wrapped up.
Yeah, that's like this. See?
Yep.
Yeah. If you buy, I have a blue one too. Yeah.
Oh, so they have colors now?
Yeah, they have colors now. I don't know why. I just bought it.
Sissy.
No, I don't like that. We're gonna.
Okay, now my wife sent me a sex.
Uh-oh.
Oh man, brum bump.
Oh no.
I tried to put text and something together. I don't know. She sent me a text that they don't need her to do a double shift tonight.
Oh, sweet. Is that good or bad news?
Well, it's good because that means she'll be home at her normal time, and I don't have to worry about Jacob being over at the restaurant for an hour and a half, even though he kind of was looking forward to going.
Yeah, I used to, when I was, at times, I used to go to my mom worked in a restaurant.
My wife sent me a sext.
A little sext.
A sext.
Thank you for sharing, John.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. I'll be back later tonight on the Comic Core.
Hopefully with more sex texts.
Yes.
And I will maybe be streaming myself later. I'll tweet about that if I do. But thanks, John, for having me.
Well, thank you for showing up. I enjoy it.
And I enjoy it as well. And
Yep.
no more scary stories. I'm not telling any more stories.
Oh man, only in private, right?
Only in private, unless I end up drinking tonight. I'm joking.
Okay. All right. Well, it is 2:25, so I better bounce.
All right. See you later, John. And see you guys.
Thank you, everybody. See you next time. Hope you enjoyed it.